right, welcome back to the party, everybody. This is Morty, and I am your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. How's everybody doing tonight? Everybody hit that like and subscribe. You know I would do it for you, and let's party. Big shout out to the replay gang. Thank you so much for coming back to watch this, even though you missed the live party, guys. That is the best part, so make sure you're here every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, and sometimes whenever I feel like it. So hit that subscribe, ring the bell, and you will never miss an Indian Jesus live party ever again. If you'd like to support the channel, head on over to theIndianJesus.com for your very own official merch. And it's getting cold out, so get yourselves hoodies. We got a bunch of other stuff. theIndianJesus.com. Guys, we do also have a Discord server. It is absolutely free to join. It's basically a group chat where we are always hanging out 24/7. It's a great place to meet people and have interesting conversations. And like I said, it is absolutely free. So join up. However, if you are a member of this channel here on YouTube, you can scroll right below the video, hit that join button. There's a few different tiers here, but it starts at just $2.99 a month. And that comes with members only live streams, all that good stuff here. And at least 12 after parties. So as soon as we are done here, we head over to the voice channel in the Discord where you will have access, and we don't have to worry about any YouTube censors. You are not stuck behind any keyboard or anything. You're actually on screen with me and everybody else. It is a good time, guys. Definitely come and join us. Shout out to Zippy, the SM Lee in the building. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Very, very good to see ya. Happy weekend to you all. So in keeping with what's been going on lately, there hasn't been lots of big news, but that actually helps me out as someone who's not trying to be a newscaster, that we can go back in time a little bit and talk about the discussions that we're having. That's what this channel is all about, being able to communicate better with each other. So we're going to go back to this summer. This summer, when Don Lemon was able to do more than just TikTok lives, and he brought Candace Owens on his show, and it was interesting. So let's dive right in. As always, guys, if you can't hear the video, please do let me know.
There are some things that you say I find, and again, I'll give you a chance to explain them, that I think that are divisive and may sort of contradict what you're saying.
So your entire perspective has been pro-BLM, and your entire perspective on your network has been essentially that it was totally fine for the officers that were bludgeoned, the officers that were killed, the officers all throughout New York City in the BLM riots. You even had, Yale graduates.
Can we keep the focus?
Please let me finish. I just allowed you to finish. I just think it's nice to allow me to finish as I'm a guest on your show. Like I said, I'm just dizzy because I can't figure out whether or not you care about police officers.
Young people and old people who are trans, right? And they are not pretending. And it is not a mental disorder.
Oh, it is pretending, because you will literally never be able, if you are a little boy, to grow up and have a baby because you're not a little girl.
So what you're saying is, oh, you know what? The Holocaust was bad, but look over here. These people were worse than the Holocaust, so we should.
That's not that. First off,
that's what it sounds like. I'm telling you, that's what it sounds like.
You just said you didn't watch the episode.
All right, Donnie Lemon, the Don Lemon Show, coming to you live with the Indian Jesus.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Don Lemon Show. Thank you so much for joining us. And you see that person there on your screen. Actually, a lot of people have been saying that, you know what, you should get Candace Owens on. You should get Candace Owens on. So, Candace, welcome to the show. I appreciate you joining us.
Anytime. Thanks for having me. I wish we had done it much sooner.
I do, too, because quite frankly, listen, I know, this is going to be interesting for people. I'm not sure we're going to agree on much. Maybe we will. Who knows? But I do have to say that I am happy that you are back in the game, because after you left your former platform, I said, you know what? I don't really agree.
The former platform. Shout out to the viewerski. Welcome to the party. Said he paid for that graphic. I mean, I would say no, he probably did it himself, but he probably couldn't even do that. Welcome. We also got Steven in the building and Revelation. Alrighty then. Welcome to the party, guys. Very good to see ya.
After you left your former platform, I said, you know what? I don't really agree with a lot from her. Sometimes I do, actually, but I think that you're deserving of a platform. And quite frankly, I think you're a bigger star than Ben Shapiro. And I've said that publicly before. Again, doesn't mean that we agree on everything. So I'm glad that you're here. I've interviewed a lot of people. Also, Candace, I don't want this
So let's keep track of how many times I agree with Don Lemon. So we're at one. that Candace Owens is more popular than Ben Shapiro. I would agree with that. I think Ben's name is probably bigger, but she's more of the firebrand, and especially with leaving a Daily Wire. And Ben's kind of, just chilling. So we got one where we agree. Let's see if it goes any further.
I can say this to be, a moment where, people, you or anyone, we're looking for, this fiery moment that's going to go viral because people are going to click on it. I really do want to learn about you. And I want you to be able to explain some of the things that you said and whether you believe them, whether they were taken out of context or whatever. But can we start? Is that okay?
Yeah, I love that. I think that's really great. I just had a conversation with Russell Brand about the same thing. Like the left-right stuff is just getting really old and toxic. And I think we can all take each other out of context and make the other person look stupid. But I think people are more deserving of an actual conversation.
And we know Don Lemon's not going to take anybody out of context, right?
I was going to start with the politics of the day, and we can always get to that because that can be kind of boring. But I mean, do you feel like after you left the other platform that you were on, do you feel different? Has your attitude?
Are they specifically trying not to say Daily Wire for some reason?
Or anything about life or your political beliefs, or has that changed at all?
It hasn't changed. I would probably say that I experienced more of an internal sea change at the beginning of last year when I was still on my other platform. And I think people saw that toward the end of me being on the other platform. And there was just, and the show was performing really well and really strong. And I think it was because I had kind of broken with this idea that it's always like left versus right. And in a way that just welcomed more people into the show. So I personally changed, probably starting at the beginning of last year, I would say.
There were people who were saying, because you went on to The Breakfast Club, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they were saying, oh my gosh, Candace Owens is Black again. She's going to come back to the Black community and she's going to be Black. And that's the way she's going to reemerge.
This is all these people think about. All these people think about is, she's on our team again because of her skin color. Weird.
It's the same way that people said that I was going to be red-pilled when I came back to, whatever, the streaming and what have you. Is that?
No, you're too far gone, Donnie. You are too far gone.
When I came back to, whatever, the streaming and what have you. Is that? Are you Black again? Do you feel that? What do you think about that?
People are going to be so shocked to learn this, and I guess I'll just announce it here, but I've always been Black. So it's like a thing. Every day I've just been Black my whole life. It was interesting to see people take that narrative because some people were like, she was doing this because, she decided to be Black because she knew she was going to get fired. I'm like, this is ridiculous. I went on the network because I got invited to go on for the first time ever. That was just my luck. And I think it was in response to me having done Joe Budden's podcast, and Joe Budden said something nice about me on his podcast, and I reached out on my podcast. So that was all very natural. And when I went on The Breakfast Club, I still said what I always think. I think people may have heard it different. And again, I think that is in large part due to the fact that Americans are growing tired of the hostility left versus right. And people are starting to listen to different ideas and seeing that we probably have more in common than the mainstream media would have allowed us to believe in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you say that, but there are some things that
He is ready to jump. Ready to jump. We are 5 minutes in, but the intro was 2.5. So we're 2.5 minutes in, and he's already ready to jump down her throat after saying that you want to have a conversation. Come on.
You say, I find, and again, I'll give you a chance to explain them, that I think that are divisive and may sort of contradict what you're saying. But before we get there, can we talk news of the day, politics of the day, and then we'll get into that? Is that cool?
Sure.
Can we do that?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's start with the breaking news. The first Democratic senator publicly questioning President Joe Biden, his election chances, after 7 House lawmakers broke party ranks.
Ooh, let's get the actual date. When did Joe Biden drop out of the race? That was July 21st, and this was July 12th. So this is before Biden even dropped out. President Joe Biden, his election chances, after 7 House lawmakers broke party ranks and urged the 81-year-old to step aside. It's Colorado Senator Michael Bennet. He told my own network, and he said this on the record, Candace, that he expects the president to lose to Donald Trump by a landslide, and he heavily suggested that Joe Biden should end his candidacy. So then, Candace, this happened on MSNBC. Let's watch.
Does he have your support to be the head of the Democratic ticket?
As long as the president it's up to the
As long as that's what we're going to do.
president to decide if he is going to run. We're all encouraging him to make that decision because time is running short. I think overwhelming support of the caucus. It's not for me to say. I'm not the head of the caucus anymore, but he's beloved. He is respected. And
Is he though?
people want him to make that decision,
He
not me.
has made the decision. He has said firmly this week, he is going to run. Do you want him to run?
I want him to do whatever he decides to do. And that's
not an answer.
That's the way it is. Whatever he decides, we go with.
Okay, so some people said,
And again, this is recorded before he eventually did drop out.
hey, wait a minute. She's not exactly saying Joe Biden, as many Democrats are saying now. Joe Biden is in that. He is the candidate. We stand by our candidate, and she's not exactly emphatic about it. Do you disagree with that? What do you think?
No, she's not emphatic about that statement at all. But what I would say is that when I watch that, there's something about it that feels performative to me, and I think a lot of people feel that way. That suddenly everybody's pressed the button, and it's like throw Joe Biden under the bus and pretend that we just found out at the debate that he was mentally deteriorating.
Wait, I thought he was sharp as a tack as of July this year.
Actually was covering today on my show how George Clooney, I don't know if you saw this, but he wrote an op-ed in the New York Times, essentially being very kind. I love Joe Biden, all this stuff. I saw him weeks ago at a fundraiser, and he just wasn't the same, and he can't go on, and he's calling for Joe Biden to step aside. And the question is, okay, you saw him at a fundraiser weeks ago. Why didn't you write this op-ed weeks ago? Why did you wait until the debate? So a lot of people are questioning whether or not there's already been a decision made, and everyone already knows he's going to step aside, and they're just kind of prepping the public on that statement. And I know might seem cynical to you, but that's definitely what it looks like to me. I mean, we've been saying this about his mental health for years. Why are people just listening now?
Guys, if you are watching and you are not subscribed, join the chat. Just hit that subscribe button for 5 minutes and you can join the conversation.
There is a difference, though, Candace, between something, and that doesn't mean that someone can do the job, but hear me out here. There's a difference between something that happens to people naturally, right? We all get older. I have trouble sometimes recalling things that I'm like, oh, what's that senator again? What's that name again? And that happens to the best of us. But there is a difference between that and someone who is, a
Joe Biden,
perpetual liar, or doesn't believe in democracy, or
hey, shout out to Dylan Soup. Welcome to the party, sir. Good to see ya.
And someone who is, a perpetual liar, or doesn't believe in democracy, or is an election denier. Those two things are not equal. And I think that is the premise of what Democrats are operating on right now. Joe Biden may not be the man he was 5 years ago or 20 years ago or 30 years ago, but he's still better than the alternative.
Is he, though?
Yeah, obviously I fundamentally disagree with your assessment. And I think it's very strange coming from a party where Hillary Clinton denied election results for years. And said that her election was stolen from her. It's very weird for people to suddenly just not remember that. Sometimes it feels like the press
there
just
was no insurrection around that. I mean,
yeah, true, right? Yeah, if you go through all of those things, that does definitely describe Joe Biden. Guys, if I could ask you a huge favor and just hit that like button, thank you so much.
Well, now you're accusing him of the insurrection. He has nothing to do with.
No, I said, but there was no insurrection around that. I didn't mention.
You can say that or not, but you just said he's.
Except there was at St. John's Church on 529 when Trump was forced into the bunker. So
no, I said, but there was no insurrection around that. I didn't mention.
You can say that or not, but you just said he's an election denier. Okay, well that would put Hillary Clinton in the exact same camp. And so it's very weird when there seems to be this sort of like Men in Black memory wipe where people pretend that suddenly Trump was the first person who questioned election results when that's been going on for a very long time in America and nobody cared about that.
Hear me out here. There's a difference between questioning an election, the results of an election, which happened with Al Gore and George Bush, than having almost every court in the land disagree with the assessment that the election was stolen. There's a difference between questioning an election than saying it was stolen. There's a difference.
Hey, we got our co-host Marty in the building. Don't forget, guys, that every donation comes with a treat for Marty. Look how cute he is. Look how cute he is. And he's hungry.
Between someone saying, I thought I should have won, and there were, I had all these wins that were, that were not at my back. Then someone saying, you know what, the election was stolen and that these people are heroes who actually desecrated the Capitol and beat up.
What are you saying? Like, it's a hodgepodge of just ideas that I don't like, and I'm going to put them together, and that's Trump. This is how Orange Man Bad became a thing. This is how TDS was created. You're not saying anything. You're not making a point. You're just picking up, well, he does this, and then that, and then that, and then that, and then that, and then that. And what about Joe Biden? What? That's not a logically framed question.
and that these people are heroes who actually desecrated the Capitol and beat up police officers, and a police officer ended up dying.
Well, those are two entirely different things. Those are two entirely different things. Whether or not the election was secure is one thing, and then being inside the Capitol or breaking into the Capitol are two entirely different things.
And beat up police officers, and a police officer ended up dying. That's a whole different thing. Those two are not equal.
So your old network even debunks the points that you just made. Obviously, the person that died that day was Ashley Babbitt. The only person who died on that day.
My old network does not debunk that.
Yeah, they absolutely. I covered it on my show. Even
no,
CNN,
I work there. They do not.
Did he say I work there or I worked there?
They absolutely. I covered it on my show. Even
no,
CNN.
I work there. They don't.
Yeah, you did, and you don't anymore, and that is why. That is why even your own former network has debunked it.
They do not. They do not.
Well, I have my computer. Do you want me to bring it up live? The CNN article where they debunked that Brian, who you're talking about, the police officer, died that day. He didn't die.
Let's see if we can find that actually. So let's see. Candace Owens. What was the guy's name? Was it that wasn't Nick Sick, right? Candace Owens. J6 police officer death. Come on, baby. Come on. Why is her not even? You would think. Okay, well, I guess it's not that easy to find right there. But yeah, if somebody could find that, I would love to see it.
An article where they debunked that Brian, who you're talking about, the police officer, died that day. He didn't.
I didn't say he died that day.
Oh, but you certainly wanted us to think that. You certainly wanted us to think that. You conveniently left out that it was days later or a day later or whatever. Yeah, it was a heart attack from too many donuts. Oh, come on, tubby boy.
Debunked that Brian, who you're talking about, the police officer, died that day. He didn't.
I didn't say he died that day. I said
okay, correct. Let me finish this. You said he died because you're trying to make people believe that it had something to do with what happened. He died of a stroke, a completely unrelated stroke, days later. So that narrative that was quickly pushed out by CNN was then subsequently debunked. So the only person that died that day was Ashley Babbitt, and Ashley Babbitt was a Trump supporter. So only a Trump supporter died on that day. Regarding the insurrection narrative, there are questions that still have not been answered that seem implausible to me. I happened to be on that day in DC, 9 months pregnant, and it's just stunning to me that that whole summer DC burned and nobody cared, and then suddenly people are talking about an insurrection and nobody is asking the common sense question of why the FBI, while they can lock up grandmas for having walked into the Capitol, some of these charges are heinous, absolutely heinous. You see these people on camera just for simply walking in at the beckoning of security guards who allowed them in, were put into prison for a very long time. So I'll ask you the question.
And many still there.
Do you think it's a legitimate stance or that it's legitimate that the FBI can't figure out who it was that dropped off pipe bombs the night before?
No, I don't think that any of what you said is very relevant because
how I don't even understand how you could say that. Like, it is directly relevant. It is the exact thing that you're talking about. What do you mean?
The night before?
No, I don't think that any of what you said is very relevant because the facts
it's not relevant.
For themselves.
Okay.
No, I don't think that it's relevant. I think talking about the FBI is really deflecting the attention from what really happened. A friend of mine, Michael Fanone, was a police officer who fought that day, who had a heart attack, who had a head injury, who was beaten with flagpoles and beaten with sticks by people who were in that crowd. The officer who died.
But did he die? Shout out to Carl. Welcome to the party. Zippy said, jailing innocent people is not relevant. They ain't black enough. Oh, got him. Good one. And we also got indie film. Welcome to the party. Very good to see you guys. Again, if you are watching and you're not subscribed, I don't know what you are doing. Come and join the conversation. Hey, we got Amb. Hello. Always a pleasure to see you. We got, oh my goodness, we got Reggie. Welcome to the party. Reggie, come on up live. We have not missed much. You have not missed much, and you want to be part of that conversation. Welcome, guys. We'll back it up a little bit and dive right back in.
who had a heart attack, who had a head injury, who was beaten with flagpoles and beaten with sticks by people who were in that crowd. The officer who died of a stroke, shortly after. It's surprise. I think that it would be tough to say that the stress that he suffered from that did not have something to do with it. Ashley Babbitt broke into the Capitol. It's awful that anybody died. Police officers, you see the tape on camera, telling everyone to stand down as she tried to enter. She was not complying, as people say when police officers or officials tell you to do something.
Okay, sure, fine. But you brought up the idea that cops were dying because of J6, and that didn't happen. Zippy says, so a cop was beaten. Why did the FBI beat him? Gotta sell it.
Was not complying, as people say when police officers or officials tell you to do something, one should comply. And when
shout out to Dixon Sider. Welcome to the party. So this guy's looking for any excuse to deny reality. Yeah, this is why he's been relegated to TikTok lives. Because this did happen in July. The beauty of being able to hop back in time. But welcome. Any film. So we all remember the pictures of police officers being beaten with flagpoles and sticks. Oh wait, no, I haven't seen any. Me neither. And I mean, sure, I'm sure that it happened. There absolutely was rioting at the Capitol that day. Sure, but again, the only reason we're having this, the only reason that we're talking about this is because you brought up that a cop died because of J6, and that was a lie. And Candace correct that. And then she went to talk about how the FBI was in all that. And you just said, oh, that's not relevant. What are we doing here? Carl said, I just had an interaction with one of these poor young men whose society is convinced he is a girl. Oof. They're getting some kittens from us. It's tragic. I want the people who pushed this in prison. I mean, when you say a young man, how old are we talking? Are we talking like teenager? Are we talking like 20s? Are we talking like 25 up? Paint a picture here. Paint a picture.
As people say, when police officers or officials tell you to do something, one should comply. And when she tried to break into the Capitol and defy the officers' commands, they did what they had to do, and she ended up dying. It's awful that it happened, but
that's too. So I don't necessarily disagree with that. Obviously, I don't agree with his position on it, but in terms of the facts, those are the facts. So twice now, I have agreed with Don Lemon, but it's only been on sheer facts, not anything opinion related. So 13. Oh man, hopefully he'll grow out of it. Hopefully, we can only hope. Crazy.
Officers' commands, they did what they had to do, and she ended up dying. It's awful that it happened, but to say that she died, and I assume insinuate that it was because of some nefarious actions by the officers, I just think that is beyond the pale and does not actually fit a solid narrative of what actually happened.
Well, it's very dizzying. I'm actually dizzy right now because your entire perspective has been pro BLM, and your entire perspective on your network has been essentially that it was totally fine for the officers that were bludgeoned, the officers that were killed, the officers all throughout New York City in the BLM riots. You even had Yale graduates.
Can we keep the focus?
Please let me finish. I just allowed you to finish. I just think it's
anytime he doesn't want to. Well, I want to focus on this particular thing that helps my point. But if you bring anything that's tangentially related, well, I don't want to talk about that. I just want to talk about the stuff that makes me look good. Like what is she here for? What is she here for? You can do that on your own, bro.
Can we keep the focus?
Please let me finish. I just allowed you to finish. I just think it's nice to allow you to finish since I'm a guest on your show.
But I want you to.
But you had them throwing bombs,
literally on the insurrection and not on
Molotov
BLM.
Cocktails in the very same summer that you're talking about the insurrection. Molotov cocktails were
summer of love, baby.
Thrown into police cruisers during the BLM riots.
But we're not talking about
the same sensitivity toward police officers.
We're not talking about BLM.
It's really inconvenient when you don't have the control to, just mute her mic as easily as you would. I mean, obviously you can, but that would not be a good look.
Can we?
But it's relevant because it was happening in the exact same city.
Okay.
And so suddenly, like I said, I'm just dizzy because I can't figure out whether or not you care about police officers or you don't care about them, because now you're sharing emotional stories and now you're cutting me off when I want to share one about a Molotov cocktail that was thrown into a police cruiser in New York by some college graduates, in the media platform that you were on cheered it on because this was about justice. But suddenly when it's patriots, you want to talk about the sad stories, the police officers. You're now saying that because you don't comply, you can get shot. That's fine if that's your perspective. And Ashley Bobbitt wasn't complying, but then we should probably revisit the George Floyd riots.
Exactly. And so she perfectly identifies here that, as we always say, if the left didn't have double standards, they would have no standards. So on this story, well, we like the cop in this story because reasons. But in this, because of January 6th, in this situation, because it was a black person, then we hate the police. And she perfectly just laid out, like, okay, well, if that's your position, then we should revisit some other stuff, because that's not what you've been saying.
Perspective, and Ashley Bobbitt wasn't complying, but then we should probably revisit the George Floyd riots.
Many Americans can be deemed as patriots in this country. Even
okay, well, I don't know why you're cutting me off. I haven't cut you off. I'm just trying to get out my point.
He's scared. He's scared of a girl, bro. What a loser.
In this country, even
okay, well, I don't know why you're cutting me off. I haven't cut you off. I'm just trying to get out my point.
I'm trying to tell you because we have very limited time, and the reason I'm cutting you off is because I want you to stick to the subject, because you're deflecting and you're talking about.
I'm not deflecting. I'm not deflecting.
That's not what that means.
Please, let me make a point across.
You're not agreeing with everything I say. That's deflection.
And BLM has nothing to do with the insurrection.
And in fact, I almost missed it. You're the one, sir, who is deflecting, and we call that projection. Dilly.
Direction. We're talking about the events that happened in Washington.
I just want to know what the definition of an insurrection is, because when I was living in D.C. and the BLM was pulling down statues, they were marching on Washington.
529 St. John's Church.
The media was fine with it. So it's confusing because the Brett Kavanaugh hearings and the women were storming into the Capitol. They were lining in the hallways.
I'm dizzy now because I'm
really confused about when it's an insurrection and when it's not an insurrection, because the Brett Kavanaugh hearings definitely look.
I don't know how you can not see that, like, okay, if we're trying to talk about this thing, we're trying to categorize this thing as an insurrection, talking about other events that we may or may not characterize as insurrections, how is that not relevant? I don't understand how you could even make that point. Like, at least if you want to deflect, have a good reason why you're hyper focusing on one point. Oh, I'm trying to make a specific point about this. We can get there, but something instead of just no, I can't hear you.
About when it's an insurrection and when it's not an insurrection, because the Brett Kavanaugh hearings definitely looked like the definition of an insurrection when they were chasing down senators in hallways trying to stop them from voting. But for some reason, the media supported that because, like, #MeToo. Again, I'm just trying to get a consistent definition of when it's okay to storm the Capitol building and when it's not okay to storm the Capitol building because it's an insurrection.
But Candace, we're not talking about BLM. And
that's the problem. We're never talking about anything Democrats do.
I want to get back on the subject because this is not helping anyone. This conversation is not helping anyone. So
it's certainly not helping you, Don, but it's helping me.
Let's get back on the subject. BLM and what happened has nothing to do, and we can litigate that and we can talk about that. This is not a conversation about BLM. This is a conversation.
I also just want to, maybe this is just my own ego, but I'm reading into the fact that typically when you have a show, you put yourself in the left position and your guest goes on the right. Now, when I was doing my show before the Indian Jesus and I had that book podcast, then I would set it up like this. But I specifically wanted to do that because I wanted the author to be focused. And I kind of feel like I don't know, maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I just think it's funny.
Has nothing to do, and we can litigate that and we can talk about that. This is not a conversation about BLM. This is a conversation about what happened on January 26th, and this is it's not about Brett Kavanaugh. Okay.
Well, they stopped to vote, so I just think that might be relevant to your insurrection.
I said shit. Me too.
So, do you believe the election was stolen? Because on July 21, you tweeted. This is July of 2021. You tweeted, "quote It has now been proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris cheated in the 2020 election." Do you still believe the election was stolen? Because even Trump's own Justice Department, the Supreme Court, courts all over the land said that there was actually no evidence to substantiate a stolen election in 2020. It was the
I believe the election was stolen.
Dixon, oh my God. Dilly, you guys are on fire tonight. Where's everybody at? Somebody go tag everybody in Discord and get them over here. Let's party.
Substantiate a stolen election in 2020. It was the
Yes,
most
I believe the
secure
election was stolen in 2020.
You do believe that?
Yes.
Okay. Why do you believe that?
Because it was.
Because it's pretty obvious that COVID was used as a mechanism to fundamentally change the way that people vote. They were passing through absurd legislation, essentially saying that every single person would get a mail-in ballot, even if they hadn't requested one. And then there was actually footage of people dropping off multiple mail-in ballots when the counting stopped in the middle of the night. So yes, I believe that our election was stolen. We don't
3 good reasons.
have to wax poetic about it. We're not going to agree on this issue. You're going to
I
give
agree.
the talking points that,
No, I'm not going to give talking points. That's what I wanted to. I just want to get.
Yes, I still believe that.
Okay, great. Thank you for answering.
So he's trying. I obviously I already watched this, but he tries to frame this as like, okay, well, I'm just asking questions. I just wanted to hear it from you instead of hearing it from somebody else. But he is, to give him credit, he is good at threading that needle of being, setting up a gotcha question and also being like, well, I heard about this thing, but I want to give you the opportunity to talk about it. And it's shady. It's shady. And if he was a little bit better at it, then he probably would still have a show. But
doing that, and that is where I want to keep this on the subject and not deflect to something else. And so,
then
I don't work for CNN anymore. So, I don't associate me with that because I don't work for CNN anymore. The reason that
and why is that? Because you went on a racist tirade on Vivek Ramaswamy.
One of the reasons that I brought up that tweet to discuss, 2020 election and beyond is because, do you think it's fair to say, I think that you've had a political evolution over the last couple of years. Do you think it's fair to say, I think that you've become much more conservative in your thinking and in your stance and things that you say. Do you think it's fair to say that you've become more outspoken and more conservative on issues over the last couple of years?
If I was Candace, just to be petty, I'd be like, well, what do you mean by conservative? Because, I've definitely cared more about some issues than others. But just because he's not going to have an answer for that. She knows. We all know what he means. But, that's an easy one to, if you wanted to be petty.
I think I've thought more about what it actually means to be a conservative. And I would say that I've probably become infinitely more committed to my Christian faith. And so that might read as more conservative over the years. I think that's fair.
You've been more committed to your Christian faith. How does that play into your thoughts about politics?
When we think about...
All right, I'll give him that's a decent question. Carl said, I caught the latest evolution of the lab-grown government bioweapon last week. And coughing up a lung ever since. Really nasty stuff. Well, we'll make sure we stay away from anything lab-grown government bioweapons. Probably a good idea to start with.
And faith, how does that play into your thoughts about politics?
When we think about conservatism, we think about tradition. It's traditionalism. And when I'm thinking about which traditions I want to uphold, it's the Catholic faith, it's Christianity, and I think.
And see, what I'm trying to do is to have that exact same sentiment that she just expressed, but when she says what's the exact word she used?
We think which traditions
when I'm thinking about which traditions. I want the idea of American traditions to be strong enough and well encompassing enough that is just as strong as a statement as I want the Catholic traditions. That in the way that it applies to American politics, those theoretically should be almost exactly the same, if not exactly the same.
I want to uphold it's the Catholic faith. It's Christianity. And I think I've now been in politics for 8-9 years. When I started, I was young, I was single, I, was running around wearing a MAGA hat. And now I'm a married mother of 3. And a lot of the conversations that we are having are...
She has 3 kids? I didn't know she had 3 kids. Did she have twins or something? I don't remember her being pregnant that many times. I don't know. Shout out to Sarah Marie. Welcome to the party. So Candace is one of my main inspirations of late, of the last 2 or 3 years, when it comes to online presence. Yeah, she's real. I definitely, so Don Lemon's question was, or statement, I guess, was that you become more conservative. And I think, I don't know if it's more conservative. I wouldn't say more conservative, but it feels like she's definitely more comfortable just being her and like what she believes. And, some of that is not stuff I agree with, but I always will value authenticity and being genuine. So yeah, even if some of the stuff I've heard her say, some of the stuff she's done, like with Kanye, it's a little like that ain't me. But points for being yourself unapologetically. Welcome to the party.
Married mother of 3, and a lot of the conversations that we are having are heavier. We're talking about the future of this country that my children are going to have to live in. You know, when we talk about any of these ideologies, we're talking about what they're learning in school today versus what you and I were learning when we were in school. And that has been a radical transformation. So it means more to me. And I think a lot of people, when I was pregnant with my first child, said, you know, motherhood will change you, like it will soften you. And I actually found that politically, motherhood actually hardened me.
How so?
Because I realized that these conversations.
You got to fight for your kids. I love that. I mean, and it's a good line, because I'm sure that, you know, in the way that people mean it, that, you know, become motherhood or parenthood softens you. I'm sure that has happened to her. But I think her point is that it's not like, it's a balance. It changes you holistically. And that is why we have seen the changes as the last few years.
Motherhood actually hardened me.
How so?
Because I realized that these conversations matter. These are not just talking points. This is not somebody talking in a news hit. This is going to have real world implications for my children.
Listen,
right? And giving you one example of that would be the dawn of the trans indoctrination that you and I did not go through in school. That to me is a very severe thing. I think it's demonic, quite literally demonic, as in, worshiping Baphomet. It goes back a long time. And I'm going to use my platform.
You said worshiping what? I couldn't hear you. Sorry.
Baphomet.
Okay, got it. Well, here's the thing. I don't know about
that. If you're not really into the church, I just want you to know that is a wild statement. I get where it's coming from. I also believe that trans ideology is evil and all that stuff. But just saying that it's of Baphomet, that is a wild statement. So just read the room. Samarie said, neither do I agree with her 100%. Daily Wire kicking her made me unsubscribe to them, and then unable to watch Am I Racist? And I missed out on your, but well, they claimed we didn't even get, I think we got like 15 minutes into the movie before they claimed it. We did watch it in Discord. But was there a way to, I wonder in the future, we should record those. But anyway, yeah, it's definitely I can speak, worth your time, but I definitely agree with it. Carl said Baphomet, Baphomet is transgender. It's a fact. That's what I heard. Baphomet or Dionysus. Take your pick. It's all mythology. It's all mythology.
Baphomet.
Okay, got it. Well, here's the thing.
I love how YouTube is just like, what? I don't even know what she's talking about.
You said worshiping what? I couldn't hear you. Sorry.
Baphomet.
Okay, got it. Well, here's the thing. I don't know about, I'm not sure I would call it an indoctrination. I do.
You wouldn't call it, okay, so what would you call an indoctrination? Well, let's start there. If we're talking about children who, before they can speak, because there's a girl who chose a truck, or a boy who chose a doll, and that's okay. All right.
Well, here's the thing. I don't know about, I'm not sure I would call it an indoctrination. I do believe that it's legitimate to say that you have questions about it, because it's a lot to take in. I wouldn't necessarily call it an indoctrination. And when I grew up, there were definitely trans people. And maybe there wasn't an awareness of it.
I remember this part. He's gonna trip himself up.
And maybe there wasn't an awareness of it in the world or the country at large. But I remember trans people growing up. I remember people who were cross-dressers growing up. My girlfriend's brother was a transvestite.
So 2 terms you just used: cross-dresser and transvestite. Are we allowed to say those anymore? So that would signify some level of change, right? But to act like that's just exactly the way it was 20, 30 years ago is insane.
growing up. So there were definitely people who were out there who were part of the trans community. And I remember the threats that Chris got from, my girlfriend's brother. I remember people on the street throwing things at him and threatening him. So I'm not sure it's an indoctrination. I think it's just maybe an awareness of things that happen in society. And that doesn't mean that the pendulum doesn't swing too far sometimes, but I'm not sure I would call it an indoctrination. That's all I have to say.
Just because you're saying that trans people do exist, let's just go with the fact that gender dysphoria is real. Some people are better cross-dressing or whatever. Let's just go with that for the sake of argument here. If that is the case, that doesn't mean that because it exists, then popularizing it isn't indoctrination. Existence does not cancel out indoctrination. Just because there were transes before doesn't mean that they're not shoving it down kids' throats. And they certainly weren't with your transvestite friend.
Well, when I was in school, I learned that it was a mental disorder. I know that's changed, but it was in the DSM-5 as a mental disorder. And I accept.
I mean, the DSM-5 wasn't out when you were in school, but point being
that there are mental disorders.
I think the DSM-4 had it as a disorder. Then they had the DSM-4 like revised version or whatever. I think that's the one where they actually took it out, and they had because it was still a revised version. They said, oh, okay, we changed this. But then when the 5 came out, they just, nope, that's just totally normal. Totally normal. Sam Marie said, yes, trans people exist. They were actually better off before certain activists ended up destroying their reputation. Bingo. Exactly. Completely agree.
It was in the DSM-5 as a mental disorder. And I accept that there are mental disorders, and people that are suffering from mental disorders should never be treated by people harassing them or people yelling at them or calling them names. So I'm sorry that someone that you knew went through that. But, when people had mental disorders, it wasn't, at least it wasn't commonplace to try to teach them about and normalize the mental disorders in classrooms, because children are experimenting with ideas and children always want to be different. Yeah. And if you say to kids, like, obviously propaganda works. If you tell kids smoke cigarettes, they all start smoking cigarettes. We learned this. And then in my generation, we stomped out smoking cigarettes because of the reverse course on that, and saying like, no, actually cancer kills. Well, they tossed in the classroom that cancer kills. And now the majority of people who were smoking like crazy in the 80s are not smoking anymore. So we know that psychological conditioning works, and that the majority of these 12-year-olds, 11-year-olds, 10-year-olds are not non-binary. They're just learning that as a way to be different, they can experiment with these things. And unfortunately, these have very evil results, because kids are being put on drugs that are quite literally used on pedophiles.
Well, that's not necessarily so, but listen.
That absolutely is necessarily so. And guys, if you have not taken a look, check out the Swole Stream goal. I've upped it to 20 super chats, but it could be any amount, and we are on the floor doing push-ups, and you should too, to pay yourselves.
Literally used on pedophiles.
Well, that's not necessarily so, but listen, let me just say that about
I think there are a lot of things on pedophiles in prison that's being given to children.
There's a lot.
It's called Lupron, and it's for pedophiles.
To respond to that, as far as the indoctrination, if it was an indoctrination, then I went to a Catholic school, so then I would be, a straight male married to a woman who attends church every single.
And again, so just because something happens doesn't mean, and then you start pushing it down people's throats. Just because it happened doesn't mean that's not indoctrination. Separate from that, just because indoctrination is pushed doesn't mean it's a foolproof magic spell like you're waving a wand. He's just so dumb.
School, so then I would be, a straight male married to a woman who attends church every single day, if there was any sort of indoctrination that was happening. So apparently the indoctrination at the Catholic school did not work on me, because I ended up being the exact opposite of what they wanted.
Right, yeah, and that's possible. Indoctrination is not a magic wand.
The other thing is
and to be clear, I personally don't think that your sexual orientation is a choice, but either way,
is that the whole idea that they're giving young children drugs at an age, and the children are getting to decide at an age that they need these medical drugs for transitioning, that is absolutely not true.
What do you mean that's not true? You can get.
And also,
You can get puberty blockers as a child.
Yeah, we have so many stories. I mean, and to just talk about Jazz Jennings, there's a show on TLC. She transitioned at 13 or 14.
I had a whole person on my show
But
who
that's
spoke
also
to
with
that
consent
transition.
of the family. And the family, you can get puberty blockers as a child, but the
Yes.
parents have
Yeah, so didn't he just say that you can't?
decided an age. Whole idea that they're giving young children drugs at an age, and the children are getting to decide at an age that they need these medical drugs for transitioning. That is absolutely not true.
And then we go.
Puberty blockers.
And
And
then
we
you're
alter
saying
them
it's a
for
mental
life.
disorder to decide that of the family. And the family, you can get puberty blockers as a child, but the
Yes.
parents have to decide that. That's not
Yes, so
some
they can get
child
puberty
who's-
blockers.
who's
So you lied. Okay.
decide. The parent and the child gets to decide that. So
Okay, but that they should puberty
that's a
blockers
whole nother thing. And then
fundamentally
you're
alter
saying
them
it's a
for
mental
life.
disorder. You understand?
I know I lied. So let's just move on. I'm just gonna start talking about something else now. So we said kids need a solid, mostly neutral foundation to start with. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, if we were number one, back in the day when your transvestite friend was around, yeah, there's gonna be shitty people all the time. But most people wouldn't, like, you'd be weirded out, but there's no desire to hurt that person. There's enough people in the world that you're probably going to get ire from somebody, and that's not okay. That's not cool. But that doesn't mean that everybody who has a certain position on it is willing to be violent. Then we take the idea that if we want that to be normalized, then number one, it has to be something that people are willing to normalize eventually. Obviously, if it's not, again, it's not a magic switch, but if like with the MAPS thing, the minor attracted persons, I mean, as scary as that is, I do feel like it's never going to get very far. It's just a red line that I don't think most people are willing to entertain that. And yeah, if it is the case that these kids do have a strong neutral foundation when it comes to this stuff, and then later they do think about this stuff, we have much more reason to believe them that it's internal. And it's not from their friends or, RuPaul's Drag Race or whatever it is. Absolutely. Kids need a solid, mostly neutral foundation to start with. Well said, sir.
Decide that. So
Okay, but that they should puberty
that's a
blockers
whole nother thing. And then
fundamentally
you're
alter
saying it's
them
a
for
mental
life.
disorder. You understand that it has not been, it's been deemed not to be a mental disorder. And then you're saying that that you're, in your rhetoric, you're saying that it's a mental disorder.
It is a mental.
Yeah, exactly. Shout out to Sarah Marie. Thank you so much with the what is it? Norwegian Chrome? No, I forget what it's called. But thank you so very much, and of course, a treat for Morty. Thank you. Sarah Marie said, my car crashed today. I don't know if it'll survive. Still, this stream is helping me forget the distress. I might not afford repairs, but a super chat quite though. Thank you so very much. And I'm very sorry to hear about that. I just went through the same thing. So hopefully, I'm glad that you're all right. At least you survived, right? That's the most important part. But I feel you. I am hoping that you get that back. And, I remember when I got into my accident, it was the same thing. It's like, it was mild enough where, like, being happy that I was okay, it was just like not enough. Like, all right, if you get a scratch on your car, you have to be, well, I'm glad I'm okay. If you get into a serious accident, then like that. But you little fender bender, it's like, oh, come on. And yeah, I didn't know either. But luckily, I did get my car back, so I hope that goes for you as well. And thank you again. That makes you the new sponsor of the stream. Thank you very, very much. Yes, we hope things work out. Carl said, you could say people would never normalize MAPS, but 10 years ago, you would have said the same about trans and kids. Go back 20 and say the same thing about gay marriage. It's the end of history or bust. So, I mean, I would say the same thing 10 years ago about kids, but I think 10 years later, being today, there is a very strong push against that. While there is a push for it, I think the push against it is stronger. It's just been louder. And ever since Bud Light, that ship is turning. And that's what I mean. Not that the idea can't arise. Clearly it has and does. But again, It just, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's just wishful thinking, but it does seem like that is just a red line. And there we go with Sam Marie starting us off with the swell stream. That's 1 and 19 more at any price. Let's get it going. Let's do it. Thank you so very, very much.
You're saying that that you're in your rhetoric, you're saying that it's a mental disorder.
It is a mental disorder. That's what I learned in
disorder.
school.
It's not a mental disorder. Okay,
if you think that you're a boy and you're actually a girl, you are suffering from a mental disorder, obviously, because you can't actually change your sex. Obviously,
I know
you can
plenty
get,
of children now. I know plenty.
You can play dress up, but you can't change your sex.
I know plenty of young people and old people who are trans, right? And they are not pretending. But
they are. They're not pretending to be trans. They are trans, which is pretending to be a different gender.
It is not a mental disorder.
Oh, it is pretending because you will literally never be able, if you're a little boy, to grow up and have a baby because you're not a little girl.
I would hope that your child would not grow up, or your children would not grow up, and then thinking that they're trans, and then their parents telling them the exact opposite.
Why? Why would you want her to lie to her children? Sarah Marie said, I was wise enough to stop the car straight ahead when the sound and lights made life interesting. No lives were threatened, not even the 2 kids. Well, thank you. That's say thank you to the universe, or God, or whatever you believe in, for that. Cheers to Anzabi. Cheers to you. Hey, we got Andy Film with the $2. Thank you so very, very much, sir. And indeed, it is a mental disorder. And oh, look how happy he is. Look how happy he is. Thank you so very, very much, guys. That's 2 out of 20. Thank you very, very much. Zibby said, I'll say it again. A man in a dress is just another man. Yup.
Children would not grow up and then thinking that they're trans, and then their parents telling them the exact opposite.
I would tell them that they have a mental disorder, and we're going to get them help.
I want to play this because
notice how he's just like either that conversation continued and he'd cut it, but it seems like he was just like, you called my bluff there. I did not expect that you were going to say yes. I would say that. So let's just move on.
They have a mental disorder, and we're going to get them help.
I want to play this because, to continue this conversation, when I say that, I think that your views have changed over time. This is a clip from one of your shows. It was just last week as we continue this conversation. It's about flat Earth and round Earth and conspiracies. Let's play this.
Sure.
If there's a bunch of people that believe something, I now want to know what it is that they believe. And of course, he pushed me on this, and he was talking about the Earth curvature and science. And I said to him, listen, I'm not a flat earther. I'm not a round earther. Actually, what I am somebody who has left the cult of science. I have left the mega church of science, because what I have now realized is that science, what it is actually, if you think about it, is a pagan faith.
Mm-hmm. And so if you are watching that charitably, then you're understanding what she's saying is that I'm no longer buying into the scientist said, trust the scientist. Not that the process of science doesn't work, but that I'm not just going to buy into the religion of science, which is a smart way to go. Zippy said, if I win the lotto, I will throw you a few bucks. I got $50 in tickets for Christmas. Well, there you go. Good luck to you and to me. Hey, shout out to our boy Andy Film again. With the $5. Said, did Sarah say she kidnapped 2 kids and then was in a car wreck? I don't think that's what happened. I don't think that's what happened. But Morty appreciates the treat. Anyway, thank you so very, very much, sir. And knocking Sam Marie right out of that sponsor spot. The new sponsor of the stream. Very, very, very much appreciated.
Okay. Candace.
Yeah.
Do you actually believe this stuff, or are you saying it because you want to generate outrage and you want more attention and you want people to sort of click on your show? Do you actually believe that? I mean, science is science. What do you mean the cult of science? What do you believe? You're not a flat earth?
What do you mean? What do you mean? We didn't just go through this entire pandemic thing where they lied about everything and everything was wrong. And they said, trust me, I'm the science. Yeah, no. What are you talking about?
Actually believe that? I mean, science is science. What do you mean the cult?
Science is science. Brilliant argument from Donnie Lemon.
of science. What do you believe? You're not a flat earther or a round earther.
Mhm.
I mean, sometimes I think you're a very bright and very intelligent woman. And I said, is she just playing in our faces? Like, what's that all about?
First, let me ask you, did you watch the full episode or did your producers pull a clip out of
No,
context?
I did not watch the full episode, but I'm
Okay,
asking
so let me
you
put it
to
into
put
context. Yeah, no, sure. I'm
Thank
happy
you.
to put it
Thank
into
you. Thank
context
you.
because that's the beauty of the media. It's just always a clip and then people go, oh, what's going on here? So that was an episode we were talking about birth control. I was sharing, I'm very passionately against the birth control because of all the women who in my life are suffering side effects, who can't get pregnant, and are realizing that inserting copper IUDs into your body over time can have an impact. And women were sharing their stories online about how the doctor told them it was safe and effective, and it obviously wasn't safe and effective long term because people just simply accept what the experts tell them without thinking,
The science.
without thinking. We saw this during COVID, so I'm very comfortable saying this. People, but if I had been saying this years ago, people would have been like, she's crazy. But this is what we mean when we say science. And by the way, these ideas, if you want someone even more brilliant than me who wrote about this, C.S. Lewis would be a great starting place.
Shout out to C.S. Lewis and shout out to Reggie Dunlap with the $4.99. Said Don Lemon needs some fertilizer for his hair. And having him a lazy attack. I'm with it. Oh, look at it. Look at it. Just look at it. Oh, thank you, sir. And of course, a treat for Morty. Thank you. And Indie Film again with another 5. Thank you. Said science is something that identifies as science. There you go. Now you're speaking their language and out sponsoring your goddamn self. Thank you, sir. Very, very, very much appreciated. That's a quarter of the way there, guys. A quarter of the way. 15 more, and I'm on the floor at any dollar amount. 99 cents will do it. Thank you.
These ideas, if you want someone even more brilliant than me who wrote about this, C.S. Lewis would be a great starting place. He termed this scientism, where the people that are in control of science create a faith. They create a faith by saying, well, the experts say 6 feet social distancing works. And so everyone starts walking around with 6 feet social distance between them. Until Fauci comes around like he did recently and say, we kind of made that up. We were just guessing. The experts say the COVID vaccine, if you get it, you will not transmit or be able to get COVID.
Exactly
and then they go,
said,
actually,
that's what you said, Don.
that wasn't true. So people, and without knowing that, subjected their bodies and said, okay, I'm going to get this vaccine. Then they say the science.
Not me. Shout out to the pure bloods. Yeah, boy. Oh, my goodness. Indie Film said, Sarah, we are all winners, and you are my favorite Viking. Shout out to Sarah Marie. Look at that. Yummy. And again, out sponsoring yourself. And oh my goodness. Sarah said, I gotta get it back. He's pulling ahead now. But I can't deal with a Fritz label. What does that mean? I don't know what that means, but I forgot if I gave Morty his treat already. So let's give him another one. Thank you guys so very, very much. We're almost halfway there.
So people, and without knowing that, subjected their bodies and said, okay, I'm going to get this vaccine. Then they say the science has changed. Well, if the science changes and you've already impacted your body, as many women, I did not get the COVID vaccine, and I'm not meaning to judge people who did, but a lot of my female friends were having menstruation issues, as we talked about on the show. A lot of my female friends had miscarriages, as we talked about on the show, simply because they trusted the experts, not.
I didn't hear about this as much. Did you guys hear about people having menstrual issues because of the jab? I mean, I certainly believe it, but I hadn't heard that. Carl said, I think it was the first self-spreading vaccine, i.e. we all got it. Shedding equals self-spreading vaccine. Well, I didn't get it. Not all of us. They couldn't get us all. You will never take me down. There are patents for FPR self-spreading vaccines too. But trust the science, bro. Trust the science. Oh, you have heard that. Okay, so yeah, it's not anything new. And exactly, so all sorts of random things get lost in the noise. Indeed. And just another thing to add to the list of why they are all bullshit. Bullshit. And again, that does not mean science doesn't work. Science works, which is why we don't trust scientists. We don't need to trust scientists because we have science. They just happen to be the ones that are doing the science. Oh, really? Okay. Well, again, I'm sorry to hear that. That's rough. I would be beside myself. I don't know. I mean, especially like if I had serious issue. Again, same kind of thing with the car accident. Like it's one of those things where I think if I had serious issues, then I might just submit to the idea that like, okay, I'm going through something. But if I was having mild symptoms or like I lost my sense of smell and taste, stuff like that, I'd be fucking pissed because like this doesn't have to happen. This didn't have to happen, and you made me think that it did. But they will never make me think anything ever again. Once I was made to think that the world would end if I did not cast a vote for Hillary goddamn Clinton, then that was the end. Sarah said, bleeding, exhaustion, heart trouble, and whatnot. Oh my goodness. That makes me angry. That makes me angry. There's so many people who just didn't know any better or even did know, but were either shamed or were in jeopardy of losing their job. I don't think anything has been more of a visceral issue in my entire life than this vaccine. Even gaining 40 pounds with no change to either consumption or workout. The list goes on and on. Well, we're here with you, girl. We are here with you. Yeah, not yet. You good for a little while. We can definitely pin it on the jab for sure. You'll make it. We're here for you, girl. We are here for you.
As we talked about on the show, a lot of my female friends had miscarriages, as we talked about on the show, simply because they trusted the experts, not because they actually knew
You don't know that
the
for sure
science was
you don't know for
accurate.
sure that they had a miscarriage.
What? How do you? So you're implying based on half of a sentence that her friends are lying to her about medical issues. For what reason? The statement was women that I've talked to or my friends. I forget exactly. I said, well, you don't know for sure.
Having menstruation issues, as we talked about on the show. A lot of my female friends had miscarriages, as we talked about on the show, simply because they trusted the experts, not because they actually knew
You don't know that
the
for sure
science was
you don't know for
accurate.
sure that they had a miscarriage because of the vaccine. That's
They had
what they're
first
saying.
and foremost, they've already admitted that the vaccine, we're now past COVID era scientism. So they've admitted that the 6 feet social distancing was fraudulent science. They admitted that the masking was
You
fraudulent
realize you're looking at
science.
something in hindsight. Hindsight is 2020 in your Monday morning.
Well, that's the point.
Exactly the point. That's exactly the point. That if it can change from Friday or Saturday or Sunday to Monday, then what you say on Saturday and Sunday doesn't really fucking matter. That's the entire point. Benny Boom says, don't tell your doctor that because then they're going to tell you to take Ozempic to lose the weight. So more drugs. Well, if that's what your doctor is telling you, you need a new doctor. That's the other aspect of this. That again, it's doctors, scientists, lab workers, somebody who has a lab coat, chemists, whatever these things are, these positions are. They're not a monolith. They're not all the same. And so you have good doctors and you have bad doctors. So if you have a doctor that's just going to throw more drugs at you when you're saying I've had an issue with this drug before even trying to see if there's anything else, then you need a new doctor. And staying with that doctor is not only hurting yourself, but giving legitimacy to that doctor to hurt other people. So make sure you hold your doctor accountable. And they absolutely hate when you come in and have some either outside knowledge or you have something that may not necessarily be completely on point, but you're like, oh, I read this on Google, and you ask them about it. And I mean, maybe not so much anymore, but back when that first came out and doctors couldn't just be, the ultimate authority on everything. It pissed them off. But the ones who actually care about doing what's right are always willing to take in new information, even if you just found it on Google, as if everything isn't on Google. I mean, you know what I mean?
And until you get hindsight, it's just a faith. And that is what I am talking about on my show. It is just a faith. People place faith. It was not a science. It was a faith. Okay.
You said a
Real
phase
science,
or faith?
That's a faith. You just believe it. You can't see it. You trust the person. You trust this person who is a science, who's a doctor, who you've enacted as the Lord in your life, and you shouldn't do that. Common sense to me when I was a kid. Common sense.
The actual results of the science experiments. You should trust what the science, the scientific conclusions tell you, not the people who do those scientific experiments or whatever.
To me when I was a kid, like when people were pushing birth control pills on me when I turned like
The food pyramid! The food pyramid was real! They taught us the food pyramid! But yeah, trust the science.
15, every time I went to the doctor, women who are watching this will relate. They're suddenly like, birth control, you got a pimple, birth control. So I didn't need to trust the science or the experts I just said to myself, yeah, probably not a good idea to microdose yourself with hormones every single day.
What does that have to do with a worldwide pandemic and epidemic where people were?
I'm answering the clip.
So this is when you are, you realize that, okay, you're too dumb for this conversation. You're hearing the words, but you're not able to put them in the context of what we are talking about right now. It's not like we're referencing something that happened before. We're currently saying the things. You understand the words, but you don't understand how they play into what we're talking. So you're not smart enough. You're just not smart enough. Dylan said they turned the food pyramid into the food plate. It looks so boring now. Well, it should be. It's not supposed to be exciting. It's supposed to be accurate. Samarie said too many have been dragged into that Ozempic train. Close friends of mine as well, Samarie says. How the jab did this to us. No wonder. People wonder if there's an agenda behind it. It was convenient timing that, you have to take this thing and it might make you gain weight. But wait! We've got this new and improved way to lose all weight. You just have to give us more money and destroy your body. But, whatever. As long as you look good, right?
Hormones every single
What does that
day.
have to do with a worldwide pandemic and epidemic where people were?
I'm answering the clip that you just showed. I'm putting this into context.
I know, but you're going.
Yeah.
I want
but because that's also what I talked about on my show. This is the beauty of actually watching a full episode and not using a clip. And so I said, now for me, it's going to require a little bit more than a faith, right? Because I'm realizing scientism just gets people to do things based on emotion without actually, and just going, trust the experts, trust the experts. I'm not trusting the experts on anything anymore, okay? I'm going to actually take a look at things and actually try to discern something by myself. Because the experts have lies.
Isn't that based on emotion?
People's lives are ruined. Well? People got myocarditis.
No, see, and this is why when he says, isn't that based on emotion? How is reading facts based on emotion? The science is there. The science is there. So you can read the studies and then you can understand, okay, they only had a sample size of 300 people. So maybe this has some weight, but this isn't the end all be all. Or, well, they did it like this and, they with the control group, they did this. So, that changes how we can tell whether it was effective. Or, the placebo, they had a control group for this medicine and a placebo and a experimental group. And the experimental group did way better than the control group. But so did the placebo. So that just says placebo effect. There's a lot of ways to be able to look at scientific research and come to a conclusion that disagrees with that research, and it's not based on emotion. Anyone said, isn't cleaning the unvaccinated or killing the unvaccinated based on emotion?
Bingo.
Yep. CNN bought 11. Hey, bought and fired. Good one, good one, good one.
By myself. Because the experts have lies.
Isn't that based on emotion?
People's lives are ruined. Well? People got myocarditis. Kids died from heart attacks, and they admitted after the fact that they knew that could be a risk. And first, they gaslit the moms who were saying it happened.
And that is.
Oh well, if you researched it, I didn't realize that you were the science. So when you research something, that's legitimate. But when Candace Owens or anybody else researches it, it doesn't, because. I mean, in this, both within two sentences. The
risk, and first they gaslit the moms who were saying it happened.
I just researched this. Oh, so you would say you're more educated on it than you were before, right? How is that emotional?
Stupid.
Samarie said that bloke seems to lack emotion anyway, by the way. To be honest. I would say, I mean, he's not super animated, but he is definitely very emotional. He is definitely very emotional. That I can tell you for sure. And I think as it goes on, she's gonna get to him. But I mean, to your point, he definitely has a good way of being a little bitch and not yelling or crying.
admitted after the fact that they knew that that could be a risk. And first, they gaslit the moms who were saying it happened.
And that is not true. But
what do you mean it's not true? There was a kid who won a lawsuit for myocarditis.
What a miss. If she, I wish that she would have been like, wait. You just said that was based on emotion.
He quite literally, if you can look this up on Yahoo News, myocarditis, he actually won. The government had to pay him, I believe it was in the Philippines, who had to actually pay him. And after that point, after that lawsuit, they started putting the warning on the vaccines that it can cause myocarditis. So it doesn't help. It doesn't help. If you're saying that you're no longer a part of the establishment, you're doing your podcast, at least acknowledge the things that even they have acknowledged now, that it causes myocarditis, that it can impact menstruation. Anything that is impacting
I
menstruation.
never said I wasn't part of the establishment, by the way. I said I did not work for CNN, but go on.
Okay.
Bruh. Okay. Oh, I mean, all right. If you say so. Did y'all hear what I just heard?
Acknowledge the things that even they have acknowledged.
She said, okay, we'll go back.
The warning on the vaccines that it can cause myocarditis. So it doesn't help. It doesn't help if you're saying that you're no longer a part of the establishment, you're doing your podcast.
So she's giving him credit. Okay, fine. You're no longer part of the establishment. You're doing your own thing. Your alternative media. Word up.
At least acknowledge the things that even they have acknowledged now, that it causes myocarditis, that it can impact menstruation. Anything that is impacting
I never said I wasn't part of the establishment, by the way. I said I did not work for CNN. Go on.
How dumb can you get? That's the thing that you don't say out loud.
Okay, so I'm glad you're admitting you're part of the establishment.
No, I mean, I don't believe that I'm part of an establishment, any sort of establishment. You would have to. You would have
That
to.
was wonderful.
But you just defended the fact that you were. You're like, I never said I was an establishment. I don't you dare say I'm not part of the establishment. Stupid. So dumb. There's a difference between anger and empathy, for sure. And so that's a perfect example. He got emotional over the fact that she said he wasn't establishment for some reason. But that doesn't, he didn't get angry, and he didn't get loud, but I don't know if he was angry, but I mean, he didn't get loud and he didn't yell, but he definitely was emotional about it.
No, I mean, I don't believe that I'm part of an establishment, any sort of establishment. You would have to. You would have to.
That was
the premise
wonderful.
is that I belong to some sort of part of an establishment. I do
She's like, I can't believe you just said that.
not. But I also say the things that you're saying are also that's based on emotion, and you're comparing a woman who can volunteer to take a birth control pill, as opposed to a worldwide pandemic where people are dying. And science does evolve, just like.
Exactly. So you shouldn't trust the scientist. You should trust the best available information that we have. That is not the science. That is science.
The world evolves, and we learn more about things, just as the science around cancer and HIV, that's all evolving and it's improving. So over time, science evolves, it improves. So I don't understand the obsession with people who say, oh, I didn't do this, and they feel really good about possibly even harming their fellow man by not wanting to do things.
Oh, please dig into this. Please dig into, well, how is this possibly harming fellow men? Because are you implying that the vaccine stops transmission? Because it does not. So how is it possibly harming a fellow man?
Possibly.
And furthermore, I made this point sometime during all of that, and it was kind of tongue-in-cheek and kind of a throwaway comment, but it doesn't not make sense. So if we are to say, so we know now that the jab didn't stop transmission, and that if you got the jab, you were less likely to get bad symptoms, not less likely to contract the virus, or maybe somewhat less likely, but if you were to contract the virus, that the symptoms would be lesser. Meaning that if we have two groups, we have a group of people who are COVID positive, who are not vaccinated, they're going to have worse symptoms and likely not going to die unless they're in risk categories. And so they are going to stay home because they are very clearly sick. Whereas you have a different group of people who just, have the sniffles and whatever, but are also positive, COVID positive. But because of the vaccine, now they're going out and interfacing with the world and other people while they have the virus. Because I'm fine. I think I'm just a little stuffy. Where's the flaw in that? Where is the flaw in that? So I would argue, if we're going to say anybody, based on the vaccine, was potentially harming anybody, it would be the vaccinated. Thank you. And again, kind of tongue-in-cheek, but also, like, where's the flaw in the logic? Like,
with people who say, oh, I didn't do this, and they feel really good about possibly even harming their fellow man by not wanting to do things that's supposed to help the greater good. To me, that is the most un-American and most unpatriotic thing.
Well, what America is not about the greater good. America is about the individual and individuals being individually great together. We are good because we are individually good, not because we got to make sure. This is exactly the same sentiment as the black community in the conversation that we had on Friday. Looking out for your fellow man is in general a good idea, but if it comes down to, well, I have to make myself look bad because there's another person on a different side of the country who did an illegal thing, but they have the same skin color as me, that's un-American. That's un-American. Carl said the vaccinated are shedding spike proteins on us, but we are harming them. Okay. Nope. Get in the ovens. It's for the greater good. You got it. Yeah,
that a person can do.
Yeah, well, actually, the most un-American thing would be Marxism, and that's a Marxist philosophy that you do things for the greater good, and it's fundamentally absurd. You should make sure that what you are doing is
just do things for yourself.
It's not selfish. It's not selfish. It's actually the opposite to say that you should inject something into your body.
I thought she was going to go a little bit wider, but it's not selfish to say I want to be the best person that I can be for my country. I want to be the best person I can be for my country, not for my country. Whatever, and me be damned. Because then you are useless to your country.
It's not selfish. It's not selfish. It's actually the opposite to say that you should inject something into your body simply because this person says so. And by the way, the science evolving.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing that you don't understand. That people don't understand.
He has not. She has not said one, or she has not started one. I don't want to say sentence, but every time she talks, the only reason she stops is because he interrupts her. Not once has she been able to finish a thought.
By the way, the science
here's the thing. Here's the thing that you don't understand. That people don't understand.
To offer their bodily autonomy in order to maintain their jobs.
But see, I think that's false.
My body, my choice.
No, because there was no mandate. You did not have to order people. If you did not want to take the vaccine, you did not have to take.
Bruh, this is so tired. That's a false choice. Either take this or lose your job, and your livelihood and your ability to feed your family is not a choice. That's not a choice. Technically it is, but in the way that we would talk about American patriotic choices and freedom and liberty, no, that's not how it works. So Emery said, we'll soon enough come back to when natural selection will actually do its course. I mean, we're technically getting further and further and further away from that and biohacking, if you will, natural selection. But I hope you're right. I hope you're right. Zippy said, leftism is slavery to the greater good. Individualism is infinitely better when the collective protects individuals. Bingo. Yep. You had to take the vaccine.
Mandate. You did not have to order
people. Shout out to King Nirvana. Welcome to the party. We're yapping about how Donny Lemon is a little beta bitch. And was trying to say that the unvaccinated are harming fellow men. And I was making the argument that it's actually the opposite, that if you are vaccinated, then you might get sick and have mild symptoms and go out into the world and spread it. Whereas if you're not vaccinated and you get sick and then you're sick, you stay home and you're good. So put that in your pipe and smoke it. Welcome to the party.
It is
no, because no one, there was no mandate. You did not have to order people. If you did not want to take the vaccine, you did not have to take it. If you don't want to take a vaccine,
and many people lost their jobs. OSHA tried to mandate it, and then
that's just consequences.
All the way up into,
you can voluntarily not do it.
It's a threat.
Exactly, it's a threat. It's so disingenuous to act like, well, it's technically like the most common thing when we talk about whether it's a choice is the someone has a pew pew to your head. Like, yes, technically, if somebody says, do this or I'm going to shoot you in the face, yeah, you have a choice, but that's not liberty. That's not what we talk about when we're talking about choices. Smoke it, lemon. Don Nuremberg lemon. Oh my God, dilly dilly for me. Oh, for me. Dilly dilly to y'all.
We should try to mandate it, and then they have to
that's not a
fight that
mandate.
all the way up. And
You can voluntarily not do
so
it.
it's a threat. It's a we're not mandating it, but just so you know, you're going to lose your entire life and not be able to feed your
You don't
family.
have to lose your entire life.
I mean,
If I
that's
did not-
kind
if
of
my
a little.
parents- If I did,
tell me he's about to say, well, we were so well off that even if one of my parents lost their jobs, we still would have been fine. Oh man.
Entire life and not be able to feed your
you have
family.
to lose your entire life.
I mean,
If I
that's
did not-
kind
if
of a
my
little.
parents- If I did not take
a
the
little
vaccine,
ridiculous.
I would not be allowed to go to school.
Okay,
So
yeah.
because why? I was putting other people's lives in danger. So
This is going to shock you, Don. My kids are not
homeschool,
vaxxed.
You can
My
decide to
children
do
are
a
not
whole lot
vaxxed.
of things.
Not vaxxed. Are they green screens? I think this is her. I don't know about him. I thought this was her studio. No, because remember this is from the summer, and then I have a feeling I don't see an outline. If I remember correctly, I feel like he grabs one of these books, but that could be something completely different. But how do you tell? I mean, I don't necessarily look too close at the bad ones. You could really see, but yeah. And so that's two counts on the Nuremberg Code: coercion and just following orders. Daddy boy, oof,
Danger. So you
he's the Queers for Palestine today. He would have been the gays for Nazis back then.
Stop you, Don.
decide to
My kids are not
homeschool,
vaxxed.
You can
My
decide to
children
do
are
a
not
whole
vaxxed.
lot of things.
Yeah, and that's wrong.
But
by
that's
the
not a
way.
mandate.
That's wrong.
That's
That's
wrong
why I
for
moved to
you.
a state where there's medical freedom. And guess what? You can compare statistics in the states where they have the most unvaccinated children with states like California where they couldn't be more vaxxed. And so your
No difference.
entire philosophy that somehow the unvaxxed kids are harming the kids that are vaccinated is nonsensical, by the way.
Unvaxxed
How can you
people
say,
in
in order for
general
my vaccine to work, you
died.
have to get a vaccine? What kind of science is that?
Places
If your
where
vaccine is
people were
working, then you don't have to
unvaccinated.
worry about unvaccinated.
Oh, did that motherfucker just call me lazy?
You have to get a vaccine. What kind of science is that?
Places
If your
where
vaccine is
people were
working, then you don't have to
unvaccinated.
worry about unvaxxed kids. You know, people are waking
Places
up to
where
this.
people-
I think he said that's in cases, not. I was about to say I may be a lazy motherfucker. Laziness is not the reason that I didn't get the vax.
If your
where
vaccine is
people were
working, then you don't have to
unvaccinated.
worry about unvaxxed kids. You know, people are waking
Places
up to
where
this.
people were vaccinated had higher rates of death from COVID than other places.
That
That's
is simply
fact.
untrue.
Okay.
That is simply made up statistics to
not
just
made-
All right, let's fact check. Wait, let me make sure to pull my name up here. Okay. So did states with COVID vaccine mandates have or actually what was the difference in child deaths due to COVID in states with COVID vaccine mandates versus states that didn't have a mandate? Let's see. Bum, bum, bum. Well, we're doing that. Zippy said, worse yet, even flu vaccines are having mRNA in them now. Well, it never took one and not going to start today. Let's see. Searching for sites. ChatGPT tells us determining the difference in child deaths due to COVID-19 between states and vaccine mandates and those without is challenging due to limited data directly comparing child mortality in these specific scenarios. However, some general trends can be highlighted. One, vaccine hospitalization. States with higher vaccination rates and mandates typically saw lower rates of severe COVID-19 outcomes, including hospitalizations among children and adolescents. For example, rates were 10 times higher among unvaccinated. These are deaths or hospitalizations. So that's not what we're asking about, because you got sick and you went home. So overall mortality impact. While child deaths from COVID are rare, very rare, compared to other age groups, unvaccinated populations, including children, were at a higher risk of severe outcomes during waves of higher transmission, such as the Delta and Omicron. Okay, so let's see this. So, leading cause of death as of January 2023. And this is who? This is Oxford. Oxford's a new study. I want an actual number. I want a number. Underlying cause of, okay, almost 1 million people. Okay, 1,300 deaths among children. And of course, they're going to use 0 to 19 just for convenience. All right. Key findings. Among children aged 0 to 19, COVID ranked 8th among all causes of death. Okay. Ranked 7th in infants, 7th in 1 to 4 year olds, 6th and 6. So, I mean, yeah, dangerous, but COVID underlying cause of 2% of deaths in children and young people. 800. There we go. 800 out of 43,000. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Now, obviously that's bad, but what Don just said is just untrue.
Kids, people are waking
Places
up to
where
this.
people were vaccinated had higher rates of death from COVID than other places.
That is simply untrue.
Okay.
That is simply made up statistics to
not made
justify
up.
the
It's
fact that they harmed
absolutely
a lot of people with
Okay.
not false science or evolving science, lies.
Yeah.
They straight up told people that
Okay.
if they got the vaccine, they were not going to get or transmit COVID. They lied,
Yep.
okay? They knew it was a lie because it required censorship to maintain
Yep.
the lie. They were
I
censoring
visited
independent voices who
hospital
were saying,
wards with people filled with people who did not take the vaccine and on their deathbeds. You know what they said to me? I wish that I had not listened to the people, to the QAnon and to the non-vaxxers and to those people. I wish I hadn't done it, because maybe I wouldn't be in this hospital dying.
oh,
Okay,
that's so
but that, are we now taking the word of people who are on their deathbed begging for life as a rational state of mind? Like, obviously, if you think that if you were under the impression that, oh, this was nothing, and then you're in serious condition, it would make sense. Then you're like, oh, I wish. In the same way that y'all will argue that atheists on their deathbed are like, well, I'm just going to pray just in case. That doesn't give any credence to God. That just gives credence to the fear of death from humans. That's all that is. People afraid to die. That's all that happened. People were afraid to die, and they were like, well, if I had done this, then everything would have been better. That's not a rational line of thinking. And for you to take that as news, as anything significant, is so disingenuous and so backwards. And you know that. You have to know that. Carl said you can't trust those mortality figures because they mixed up the people who died with COVID and the people who died of COVID. Yep. San Marines and more people die of the flu every year, except for 2020 and 2021, right? Wasn't that the case? The flu just magically disappeared and nobody got the flu, but all these people got COVID, right? People who died in car accidents were listed as dying from COVID. One of them got shot and they listed it as COVID. Died with COVID is the number one cause of death. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, if you have with COVID, that means that the COVID isn't causing your death. It just means, if you had a heart attack and you were COVID positive. So yeah, lies.
To those people, I wish I hadn't done it, because maybe I wouldn't be in this hospital dying.
Oh, that's so shocking that you were able to talk to people on their deathbeds because people were not even able to see their loved ones. The hospitals were so locked down. So how were you able to speak to so many people on their deathbeds in hospitals in New York City?
No, this was not in New York City, as a matter of fact, and it was
Where were
after.
you?
It was after the lockdown. It was at the hospital where I grew up in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And
Yeah,
if
it's
you,
quite
you can
shocking
go
because
back
they were
and
not
look at,
allowing in hospitals for people to even see
no,
their loved
they were
ones. And yet
allowing
you were
people.
able to talk to
You
people on their
forget,
dying bed.
you forget that there were
That was their
days
death
there.
wish to talk to Don Lemon about the vaccine. It seems like one of those
Candace,
stories when they
you're trying
say,
to
like,
explain to me where I
it
was
just
and
seems
what
like one of
happened,
those fairy
and you're
tale
not.
stories where they say,
Don't try
like,
to
on her
explain to me,
deathbed,
Candace.
she
This
said,
was
you know, I just don't
after.
really buy
This
that.
was
I don't.
after.
Me neither. So actually, yeah, let's see. Let's actually watch that. Don Lemon, Baton Rouge Hospital. Don Lemon, Baton Rouge Hospital. All right, from
Baton Rouge General.
From August 2021. August 2021. Let's see what you got, Donnie boy.
Mid-City is bursting at the seams.
Do you have more patients here with COVID than without?
That is correct.
At General Hospital, in your lifetime, you haven't seen anything like this?
I have never seen one illness occupy 90% of the resources and 90% of the beds.
What's going on?
The Delta. That's the new virus. It's more contagious. It's more virulent. And, it's catching people that have not been vaccinated.
Before I speak with any of the COVID patients being treated, I suit up.
Everyone does this to go
Suit up.
into a patient room. They have some type of covering for their clothes.
So every day, all of you guys are doing this.
Yes, sir.
This is a lot.
And remember, this is CNN, so this could entirely be faked. This could be entirely faked. It would not be the first time it's happened. I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying it could be. It could be fake. Zippy said, I knew many people in the city who were just sent home and told to deal with it. Santa Marie said, what's more disturbing is this guy actually believing the shit he's expressing. Yeah, I mean, talking about sniffing your own farts.
It's wild.
Here is 53-year-old Jim. He's unvaccinated, and so is his brother. Until yesterday, Jim and his brother.
Notice how fucking fat he is. I'm sure it has nothing to do with how fucking fat he is. It's because he wasn't vaccinated.
Were in here together. The brother got well enough to be discharged, and Jim.
Did he just say the brother?
Yesterday, Jim and his brother were in here together.
Oh, okay, the brother, like his brother. I thought he was saying like he was referring to this guy's like my brother was like. Okay, my bad.
The brother got well enough to be discharged, and Jim hopes he'll be as lucky.
How you doing?
Doing good.
Yeah?
How the fuck do you think I'm doing? I'm fat and I'm in the fucking hospital for COVID.
Doing a lot better.
You and your brother were here?
Yes, sir.
What happened?
We just got COVID and got sick, and we went to the hospital in the Ritter, and they didn't have no place for us to send us down here. He come down 2 days before me, and he left yesterday going home. I was in ICU for 3 days.
Nope.
And moved me up to a room.
Yeah.
So that's a good sign.
How's your brother?
When okay, well, I was told that he was begging for the vaccine,
Doing
but,
good. He actually got talked.
and I haven't seen it. So I guarantee you, if that comes up, it will be a direct leading question from Don. Like, don't you wish you had the vaccine, or do you, or something along those lines?
This morning. He was at home with me first night at home last night.
What does it feel like?
Feels like you got your lungs clamped down. You just can't get the air.
Why didn't you get vaccinated?
Just hadn't had time, I guess just didn't do it.
So you're not anti-vaccine?
No, sir. No, sir.
You're just kind of ambivalent about it.
Yep, just country boy.
Do you regret it?
Yes, I do.
Tell me why.
Just, I don't know if the
I told you. Leading question. Do you regret it?
shot would have helped me, but maybe it would have kept preventing it to get worse.
What do you say to folks?
Open your eyes.
What?
Prevent it to get worse.
What do you say to folks?
Open your eyes.
Open your eyes. Okay. COER.
Open your eyes. Take heed to this. There's nothing to play with.
He says he's not anti-vaccine.
But again, that's because you're fat. I guarantee if you lost 200 pounds, you would not be in that hospital bed. Hey, shout out to Black Salami TV. Welcome to the party. Said funny how they say you need another vaccine for every variant, because they somehow made a new vaccine for the new variant when the new variant came out the day before, but nothing but total lies perpetuated. Bingo. Indeed. Welcome. And yeah, exactly. With anything here, if you see this CNN logo, then you cannot trust it. You cannot trust it. We've seen, let's see if I can find that CNN fakes protest. There's a viral picture where they've grouped a bunch of people together. This is kind of what we're talking about. Oh, see more. It went viral a while ago. Breaking news. Is this the same one? Okay, I think it's the same incident. Let's see. All right, yeah. So we have here. They're trying to, they're trying to say something's going on, and they will focus it and have a bunch of people crowded around, and then the rest of the empty street, as you see here. So they frame it as if, they'll have the camera tilting down a little bit, so you can't really see behind these people. You can't really see outside over here. So all you see is a huge crowd of people. This isn't exactly what I was looking for, but that's what it is. So just saying. Carl said ventilators killed most of the hospital victims. If they had just if they had just given them oxygen, most of them would still be alive. The hospital staff wanted them on ventilators because it's less contagious that way. Do no harm, my ass. Money is a bitch. Santa Marie, and I think wasn't there also something with them, at least the hospital? I don't know about the doctors, but the hospital getting more money for each of the ventilators that was being used. I mean, fact check me on that. I just heard. I don't know, but again, wouldn't surprise me. Santa Marie said the virus might have. It absolutely was created in a lab, and just like MI2, about to be spread as soon as the vaccine was ready. Still, it targeted elderly, fat, and whatnot people. What are whatnot people? Just like natural selection. Yeah, exactly. So let's see. So that's the first guy. Let's see who else he's talked to.
Vaccine, he just didn't have the time.
Yeah. We find
that a lot?
Well, yeah, a lot of people. I mean, some people are anti-vaccine. Some people just don't think it's, as important, I guess, if you will. They don't think it's going to happen to them. And unfortunately, what we're seeing here is that it can happen to anybody.
I'm aware I'm in a...
Well, it's way more likely to happen if you're old and fat, but let's just ignore that.
Hospital full of patients with the Delta variant, and so is the staff. There's strict protocol to try to keep the deadly virus from spreading.
So you have to change that every time you go to a different...
I love how she's just in a regular mask, and he's got, like, his whole fucking getup. Like, it's so performative. Black Salami said it's not even that it's less contagious, it's that they got paid $45,000 per death. I knew I heard something about that. So they gave them the ventilators instead of the oxygen for some quick cash, like people marked as COVID death in car crashes. Yeah, we were just talking about that. So I mean, I don't know. I'm not necessarily willing to say that they had the choice and they knew that the ventilators would be bad, and they said put them on the ventilators because we want the $45,000. What I think is way more likely is that, like, okay, we have two paths here. The oxygen might be better, or maybe the ventilator, but we get $45,000 per, so let's just go with the ventilator. Not really, because I want to believe that if they knew it would be that dangerous, then that $45,000 wouldn't be enough. I want to believe that. I mean, Big Pharma, $45,000 is not a lot. So I'm hoping, but these days, you never know. Samarie said this actually reminds me of 5 years ago, almost by the date. We saw the news from China and actually expressed the very course of events, even the aftermath, which we are currently in. Are you what do they call those? I forget, but look into your crystal ball there, eh?
So not to a different room, to a different floor, because outside is clean space, inside is dirty space. Makes sense?
Yes.
What?
It's a different floor because outside is clean space, inside is dirty space.
I thought you said the opposite.
Makes sense.
Yes.
So we keep COVID behind these walls.
Got it. Wow, that's a lot that you guys have to go through.
Yeah, it's time consuming, but we do what we have to do to make sure.
Which is why not letting people on the beaches was stupid. 45K per times hundreds of patients, a lot of money for that. I mean, I agree, but I'm just saying I would hope that it wasn't just like, oh, fuck these people, let's take the money. It stands to reason that with a novel thing, with the information being so fucked, I mean, they also had, they had information, but not much more than we knew because there wasn't much more to know. And so I'm choosing to say that it makes more sense that even, okay, so again, $4 million is a lot, but not enough to kill people. I don't know if for you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if that makes sense, but you never know.
Protect everybody, the healthy and the sick.
Let's do it. Is there some art to this? So I'm getting my new PPE because I left a different section or different ward. Is that right? Different unit.
Oh, wow.
And so now
Amazing.
wherever I go, I have to have
because this had to be part of the report. What we care about is you putting on new gloves, not what dying people are saying.
Contaminated or bring something from another.
Bro,
ward.
I don't care.
40-year-old mother of 4, Maxine Sawyer.
Fat.
11 days ago, she came to the hospital thinking she was having a heart attack. She was.
That's not something that happens to skinny people. Just saying.
Maxine Sawyer. 11 days ago, she came to the hospital thinking she was having a heart attack. She wasn't.
Were you freaking out?
I didn't freak out. I was shocked when they said I had COVID.
Why?
I don't go anywhere. We have been quarantining, disinfecting, doing everything that we're supposed to do. And I still ended up with the virus. My children got tested immediately. I'm the only one that
Are they fat?
ended up with it.
Are they as old as you?
Well, let me ask you.
I mean, she's only 40, but
Why didn't you get vaccinated?
told you. Because again, here, even regardless of what the science and the efficacy and anything, obviously, you're going to want to think of the counterfactual. Like, well, maybe, if, especially with all the news, maybe it stands to reason that these people would think that getting the vaccine would have changed things. But that's not necessarily even the case. Black Salami. So they also fed everyone in the hospital a drug, remdesivir, that showed no evidence of helping, and a plethora of awful side effects, heart failure for the biggest part. How did they make this so bad? How did they go so bad with this? There's 3% or maybe more in the new study's death rate as a direct result of taking the remdesivir. Again, none of this is surprising. None of this is surprising, and I don't know why he is even 6 months ago. Why he's so adamant that he's right. You weren't. And again, just because you talk to 5 people on their deathbed who wish they did something different in their life, that doesn't mean anything. That certainly is not the science.
Me, myself, I thought that I was being safe because I've been quarantining since the beginning of the pandemic. The reason I didn't get vaccinated, my choice was I wanted to wait, let this first batch go through, see how it worked.
Smart.
But before I got sick, I was thinking about getting vaccinated, and I was speaking to my children about it. I didn't make it in time. I got sick before I can get vaccinated.
Being in the
So these are not people who did research and decided, no, I don't want to do that. These are people who were just either lazy or not paying attention or whatever. So these are not people who are in the same camp as us. Us being the purebloods who looked into this and decided, no, I don't want that because of this, that, or the other. These are not, that's not the same group of people.
hospital is hard, but in some ways, the conversation with her children is even harder.
If mommy doesn't make it home, you guys know I love you. I have raised you up the right way. I have made sure that you guys have grown up close. They're best friends. and you guys have to be strong and make mommy proud.
That could not have been easy.
No.
This is like going to people who have just overdosed on heroin and be like, well, don't you wish you wouldn't have done heroin? It's like, yeah, no shit, obviously. But there's a direct causal factor there. There's a direct causal factor there. It's not the same thing.
Never. Never is.
What was it? Did you ever think you were going to die?
We all die.
I knew it was a possibility.
It's not a possibility. It's an inevitability.
To experience death around me constantly was a huge ordeal for me.
You experience people dying here?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Younger than me. Healthier than me.
All right, so why aren't you interviewing those? Those would make a stronger story. If you had young, not fat people dying, then interview them. Why are you interviewing the fat old people? Make it make sense. Yeah, play it up for us, please. Haram. Hey, shout out to Box. Welcome to the party. Good to see you, sir. Good to see you. We're watching Candace and Don Lemon from this past summer, and he's just lying and bullshitting like a Don Lemon does.
You know, and it affects.
I mean, absolutely. Yeah, I don't want any of them to die. But the argument that not getting vaccinated is a danger to other people, or the sole reason that this woman is in the hospital is asinine. It has no scientific basis to say that. Of course, they're fellow countrymen. Like that's never in question. Was somebody under the presumption that if you're not vaccinated, that you think anybody who is sick is not an American? I wouldn't think so.
You know, and it affects, even though I don't know these people, when you experience a cold blue or laughter in the with the staff turns to silence because they're heartbroken because they just lost somebody.
Shout out to Arrow. Welcome to the party. Good to see ya. Good to see ya. Yeah, our food is not good. Not good. But RFK coming to save the day.
You know, it does something, you know?
What?
It's like
what, bitch? Spit it out. I'm trying to make a news segment.
How precious life is. And how we take the smallest things for granted. Like a single breath. One single breath we take for granted.
So she didn't have. Do we have anybody else here? All right.
The kid can stop being afraid. If all continues to go well, Maxine is scheduled to go home tomorrow.
Well, then she didn't die now, did she?
The good thing about me ending up here is everybody has said, okay, if mom, of all people, got COVID, it's time for us to get vaccinated as a family.
They say it's a small world, and it really is, especially here in Baton Rouge. I actually met someone who went to my high school. Did you go to Baker High School?
I sure did.
You did? What year did you graduate?
A long time before you, 68.
Oh my gosh.
70-year-old Brenda Carl says she was admitted to the hospital Saturday with
how old? How old? 70 years old. Okay, so we're sticking with the old and fat people.
Double pneumonia and COVID-19.
What were you saying?
So pneumonia and COVID-19. How do we know that the COVID is the main factor here?
What happened?
I just got to where I couldn't breathe. I had no oxygen, and I was doing okay at home. I thought I was getting better, and then just the bottom fell out. You just don't know, and it's rough stuff. It really is.
You just don't know.
Did you know you had COVID?
Yes, I had tested positive.
Was that before or after the pneumonia?
Several days before, yeah.
So, why didn't you get vaccinated?
So she got the COVID first. And she was fine. And then pneumonia.
Just apprehensive, you know. My husband got it.
And again, it is fair to be apprehensive about the government telling you, inject this shit into your body. We don't really know what it is, but trust me, just do it. Just do it. Just do it. We'll take away your job. Just do it. That is a reasonable thing to be apprehensive about that.
Just apprehensive, you know. My husband got vaccinated and wanted me to, and
and he's fine. So therefore, it's obvious that the only reason we're here is because I didn't get vaccinated, because I'm a terrible, horrible person. And Don Lemon, you should smack me in the face right now.
thought, oh, I'll be careful, and you know, but it's, I guess, needful, very needful.
Are you going to?
I plan to get vaccinated.
And you weren't
But you have the antibodies now. You don't need them.
against vaccines?
Oh no, I've always taken vaccines. This seems so different, you know.
It was. So everything that you're trying to say about in the podcast that we're watching about him, I went and these people were like, oh, please give me the vaccine. Nobody brought up the vaccine until you did. Nobody brought up the vaccine until you did. So again, lies. Kinimana said, we went to the same school, ma'am. Very cool. Now, why didn't you take the vaccine, you idiot? Pretty much. And great point. Fantastic point. That asking why they didn't get vaccinated as they're dying is fucking crazy clickbait, making money off of suffering. I'm absolutely. I didn't even catch that. I didn't even catch, think about that. But again, the idea. So is this how we decide how people behave in society now? We just go to people who are about to die and ask them, what should we do? Doesn't sound pretty smart. Box said, never got the job, never got COVID. That might be a good thing or a bad thing. Same here. So dilly, my fellow pure blood brother. There you go. I was born in 89, so yeah. Adam said it's all so much Soylent Green. Yeah, that doesn't help either. Sam Marie said, what should actually scare us is the fact that the project of which is controlling the plague, commonly known as Black Death, is losing funds, which means it's the next plague to Rome. That one is serious. That one we don't want getting out.
And just informational. I just didn't, I guess, get the information that I wanted, or thought, well, it's so different. I'm not sure it's going to be a good vaccine. So
yes, that is the logical and intelligent way to approach the situation. So again, then it falls on you, the media, and those like Dr. Fauci to get people the information and be trustworthy, that we trust you when you give that information. Clearly, you don't have that credibility. But yeah, it's the unvaccinated.
So,
Yeah.
So
it's your fault.
I think everybody ought to try to get it. Yeah. Just if it'll help prevent you from getting really sick.
But it won't.
It's going to do its thing.
At the beginning of summer.
Exactly. It's going to do its thing.
There were 4 patients in Baton Rouge General's 2 hospitals. 2 weeks ago, there were 15. Now, there are nearly 200 COVID patients, 90% of them unvaccinated.
This was where actually we used to have our COVID patients just on this side in comparison to what it is now, just as a...
This was just COVID back here.
This was just COVID back here.
Now everything is.
Now everything is. Yes, sir.
How long ago?
About a little over 2 weeks ago.
Could you find a bigger boom mic? Like, what I don't understand. So that's what they were referencing here. Let's dive back into this.
To even see their loved ones, when you were able to talk to people on their dying bed.
Forget that there were.
That was their death wish, to talk to Don Lemon about the vaccine. It seems like one of those stories when they
you're
say,
trying to explain to me where I was.
It just seems like one of those fairy tale stories where they say, like, on her deathbed, she said, I just don't really buy that. I don't really buy this, that you spoke to tons of people on their deathbeds.
Okay, this was after,
and so she turned out to be right. He talked to 4 people. They were all old and or fat, and that's not tons of people. And they weren't on their deathbed because of at least 2 of them said they went home. Carl said, interesting fact, in Make Room, the book Soylent Green is based on, Soylent Green is not made of people, just in the movie. Interesting. Arrow said, a mulatto, an albino, a mosquito, my libido. What? All right. Dive back in, yeah.
Really buy that. I don't really buy this that you spoke to tons of people on their deathbeds.
Okay,
I just
this was after.
I'm gonna rate that false.
Okay, no, you're not going to rate it false because all you have to do is go back.
Was it their last words?
Go back and look. No, their last words were not to me, but some of their last words were to me because some of
No, they weren't.
them died after I left the hospital.
So they didn't talk to anybody after you left. They talked to you and like, no, I want my last words to be Don Lemon. So I'm just gonna. I'm not gonna say anything. I'm not gonna say anything. I'm not saying anything. Like, it's like the lyrics of Teen Spirit. Which part? Wearing a mask, speaking to the camera. Yeah, well, that was the number one virtue signal for those 3 to 4 years. I mean, we knew he was gonna do that shit.
Were not to me, but some of their last words were to me because some of them died after I left the hospital. It was not when we had the lockdown. This was shortly after things started to open back up. We could actually travel on planes, when we could leave our houses, and there were still people in COVID wards. And I interviewed them when I worked for CNN, and they said, I wish that I had taken the vaccine because maybe I would not be dying. And
maybe, though, which again is a reasonable thought, but has no basis in science. Maybe if I had done things differently, then things would be different, is again a reasonable thought to have on your deathbed. That is not a scientific thing. And wasn't it you who first said that when Candace was talking about whatever it was, look, well, isn't talking about doing not trusting the science and just reading into it, saying well, isn't that emotional? Isn't that based on emotions? Are you now not basing all of this on emotions? Come on. Oh my goodness, guys, we are not even halfway there, and we only got 2 minutes to get our swole stream goal. Let's see.
I wish that I had taken the vaccine because maybe I would not be dying. And their loved ones afterwards,
they
said that on their deathbed. So what you're saying, I think, is completely.
Well, I just want to share a story too. I too was allowed as a journalist into hospital wards, and people said to me on their deathbeds, I wish that I hadn't taken the vaccine because it didn't work and I'm still dying on this deathbed. So
dilly. Hey, shout out to Boss for the 5 gifted memberships. Thank you so very, very much. Very much appreciated. Thank you, sir. Very much appreciated. And guys, if you were just gifted a membership, make sure you join the Discord so that you can be part of the after party. Thank you, sir. The hair implant on his head. It originated from his balls? Maybe. Very, very possible.
That I hadn't taken the vaccine because it didn't work and I'm still dying on this deathbed. So I had the same thing happen to me.
If it didn't work.
Shout out to Equality and Deference because of vagina, said Candace, complaining about fictional stories while being Christian. You getting spicy. Welcome.
And they're still dying then.
Yeah, I got the vaccine and yet somehow I'm still on my deathbed. So clearly it didn't work. So that was that. I don't know. That's what they shared with me on their deathbed.
Okay, so if they wouldn't,
I was allowed into a hospital
that doesn't
ward
make
here in
sense though,
Tennessee.
because how do they know if they didn't?
He's so dumb. He doesn't realize that she's just being petty here. Oh my god. He's so dumb.
A
Well,
hospital
that doesn't
ward
make
here in
sense
Tennessee.
though, because how do they know if they didn't? If they didn't get the vaccine,
Exactly. How do they know that if they'd gotten the vaccine, they wouldn't also be in the fucking hospital? You fucking moron. That's exactly her point. Exactly.
So because how do they know if they didn't? If they didn't get the vaccine, what difference?
They did get it, and they were still put on ventilators. So the vaccine didn't work, and so I'm a journalist. They allowed me into the hospital wards, and that's what they told me. And I was working.
How were you able to go in the hospital wards when we were on lockdown? They got to talk. I'm just being facetious here.
I know.
That is the moment that he figured it out. All right, so we didn't get our goal, so let's try another one. Let's do. We'll pull it down. We'll keep it. What the hell is happening? Start another goal. There we go. All right, so there we go. Stop. What is happening? All right, so we're gonna bring it down to 10. So we got 7. So we'll bring it down to 17 from the 20. We can do it, guys. Let's do it. Let's get swole. Quality asks, what is a swole stream? Where we have the super chat goal. If we get 10 more super chats, then I will do 25 push-ups because I am not swole. And you should also, all of you should also do it as well with me so we can pay ourselves and be swole. That's what we all want, right? That's what we all want. All right, let's dive back in here.
I was working.
How were you able to go in the hospital wards when we were on lockdown? They got to talk. I'm just being facetious here.
I know.
It goes both ways. Okay, so here's what this is a quote from you, right? After you said that you were leaving the cult of science, okay?
Yeah.
And I'm going to play clips. I know that you want people to watch the full
No,
episode.
I'm fine. I'm happy to put them in context.
Clips, and you said, "quote No matter what, if there is a bunch of people who believe something, I now want to know what it is." So in the spirit of all of that, and if we can do it quickly here, right? Because I know that you're very busy and you have things to do. So I want to know, and you can tell me yes or no if you agree or disagree, because some of these things are deemed as conspiracy theories, like flat Earth or round Earth. I know that you said maybe that was taken out of context. So
she didn't say maybe. She said no. That was not. There's a broader context to that. Shout out to Box. Thank you so very much for the $10 super chat. Very much appreciated. And of course, a treat for Morty. That's one, guys. 9 more, and I'm on the floor. And again, they don't even have to be the $2. $1 will do it. Thank you, Box. Very much appreciated. Who did we have? Any film was 17, and we'll put Box in there since he did the gifted memberships. Thank you so very much to the both of you. Love you.
Like flat Earth or round Earth. I know that you said maybe that was taken out of context. So I'm going to say if you agree or disagree. These are not clips. These are just quotes. The 1969 moon landing was staged in Arizona.
I 100%, after reading this book, Chaos, believe that the moon landing was a complete and utter ridiculous hoax on the American people. I used to not believe. I actually always had an instinct about that one, and then I read a lot into it, and I was just like, okay, this is actually kind of ridiculous. It's like the Easter Bunny for adults, you know?
Okay.
Yep.
All right. The U.S. government was.
Shout out again to our sponsors, our co-sponsors of the stream. Very much appreciated. Well, yeah, don't nobody have to do anything, but if you want to, then it's a good way. It's a good way to get yourself motivated. The Swole Stream.
Behind 9/11.
Wait.
Yep.
All right. The U.S. government was behind 9/11.
Actually, I want to hear your guys. Let's see. The U.S. was behind 9/11. Agree? Disagree? No, I'm going to force you guys to make a choice. Agree or disagree? The U.S. government was behind 9/11. What do you think? What do you think? Yeah, everybody's fucking ragging on his hair. What? I said, Love and Rockets reference. Love and Rockets? Oh, I'm thinking of Love and Robots. That's a show on Netflix. I'm not sure what Love and Rockets is, but word up. Hey, Box again with the $2. Thank you so very much, sir. We are getting there. Thank you. And look how happy he is. Oh, very much appreciated, guys. Thank you to our boy Box out sponsoring himself. Thank you. Zibby says, was 9/11 by the U.S. government? No, but they made it happen indirectly. So yes, they did. All right, you're gonna have to elaborate a little bit more on that. King said, involved is a better way to ask it. But just my opinion. Well, that's why I didn't involve. We all know they're involved. That's not the question. The question is, did they spearhead it? Am said, bullshit. Everything indeed looks yellow through a jaundiced eye. All right, let's see what Candace has to say about it.
Yep.
All right. The U.S. government was behind 9/11.
No, I don't believe the U.S. government was behind 9/11.
You don't. You think it was just as reported.
Not as reported, obviously not as reported. I did a whole
Yeah, so I was that's kind of what I thought she would say, that it's more of a hybrid. That, you know, obviously we don't have the what? Okay. What was I saying? Oh yeah, it's somewhere in between that. Like kind of, I think what Zippy was referring to is that they indirectly made it happen. There was clear points of like the American government did this, and so now we want to retaliate with that. So I do believe there's aspects of that. Zippy says the nebulous cause and effect egged on by government resulted in 9/11, which then they capitalized on by reducing the power of the Constitution. Yeah, I agree with that. Black said, did they arm them? Yes. Did they do it? No. And that's why I said behind and not involved. Black Salami said Osama worked the CIA over 10 years before they accused him. Yep. Also, one of my best friends growing up had the same birthday, and both our moms also had the same birthday. That kind of synchronicity, I believe in conspiracies less than I used to. I mean, there's a lot of people, and there's only 365 days. So, coincidences happen. Am said, that means nothing. Unless you were a government agent with high clearance, you wouldn't know shit. Well, obviously, that's why we're talking about it. If there was just an answer, then it wouldn't be a fun question. But sorry, they did it all. They did it all. All right, let's see what she said. Yeah.
As reported.
not as reported, obviously.
I said our government or Israel. I said the U.S. government.
Not as reported. I did a whole episode on that. People should watch it.
Okay.
For tons of things that we weren't told
It's still up online. I would. Okay, go ahead. People can watch it. All right. The mass shooting.
Why would she say go watch it if it's not up online?
Things that have been faked to promote gun control laws.
No, I don't believe that.
You don't believe that? Okay. Barack Obama was not born in America.
I don't even know where that one comes from.
Donald Trump. So out of the, is anybody else going to hit the poll? We have 71% of you agreeing that the U.S. government was behind 9/11. We need a bunch of votes coming in, and I don't think we're going to get it. So let's go with this one. And that is a key question. What happened to Building 7? Free fall. Oh, and then was Obama born in the USA? Let me know. I'm gonna skip that one box, but yeah. So, they definitely were. Definitely.
Barack Obama was not born in America.
I don't even know where that one comes from. I don't know anything about that conspiracy theory.
No, I'm just asking you. Well, you don't know where it comes from. I mean, Donald Trump.
I literally don't know where it comes from. I mean, I was quite young, I was in 2008. I hadn't even voted at that time, so I didn't follow. I guess the best way to say is I was in college. I didn't follow the Barack Obama Kenya thing that went on.
I mean, that was beyond 2008. The birtherism thing with Donald.
I didn't.
Trump,
I was not at all engaged in politics. I was in college when he won, and I
okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right. He did lay off, but it's like, bro, but I understand that you feel like even if you don't know shit, that you just spit out answers to fill space or to push a narrative. But she told you she doesn't know. So what else is there to push on? And then, of course, you go and fucking talk to Kamala Harris and no follow-up questions at all.
Come on, man. Something with Donald
I didn't.
Trump,
I was not at all engaged in politics. I was in college when he won, and
okay.
Do I seem like a dishonest person? Would I not tell you if I followed it and believed it?
If you didn't follow it and you don't know, but I'm surprised that you, as a journalist and someone who is so opinionated, that you haven't done research on that. But if you haven't,
well, you're inspiring me to. I will.
Okay. The CIA killed JFK.
Absolutely. Put one in the chat if you think the CIA did not kill JFK. If you think that the CIA did not kill JFK, put a one in the chat. Black Salami said our own people bombed what? Especially with a cell phone, set up planes and a missile to hit the Pentagon at the same time. There was never plane wreckage recovered from the Pentagon. Yeah, that's the wildest one. We got one. Box said it was the mob. Okay. We said kill him dead. Deep State hated JFK. Well, what if is it possible? Is it possible that? Well, what does that mean? I don't know. I don't know what that means. I wasn't. The mob equals JFK and the mob equals CIA. Is everybody's the mob then? What does that mean? The detectives. What about the detectives? What are you talking about? What are we talking about, Willis?
But if you haven't,
Well, you're inspiring me to. I will.
okay. The CIA killed JFK.
Yes, I believe that.
You do. Why is that?
Yes, because there would be no other reason for them
magic
to
bullet.
lock down the files for as long as they did, and then come up with a stupid Russia did it thing that long. The only time you would lock down files like that regarding a sitting president being shot. And by the way, if they knew Russia had done it, we would have gone to full-blown war because.
Yeah. Shout out to Clay. Welcome to the party. Good to see ya. It's been a while indeed. Hope you are having a good day as well. Welcome to the party. Good to see you. Good to see you.
Sitting president being shot. And by the way, if they knew Russia had done it, we would have gone to full-blown war because they would have killed the sitting president. And also because, and this is a very interesting fact that I learned in this book, Chaos, that people should read and actually become very informed about this. The individual that shot the individual who shot JFK, his name was Jacob Rubenstein, was subsequently MK Ultra. That was a government program in which they had realized that if you give people a cocktail of drugs, you could essentially not brainwash them, but you could make them crazy instantly. They could give you
Turian candidate. Equality said Building 7 dropped like just Building 7 dropped just like a controlled demolition because debris hit the side of the building. Think it through. Yeah, crazy conspiracy theorist. Yeah, that don't make dollars or cents. Sorry. Black Salami. So the CIA gave black people in Tuskegee syphilis just to view the effects. They told them it was vaccines, by the way. Why would any of you trust the deep state? Bingo. Yep. Box said the Italians killed JFK. But again, why wouldn't we go to war with Italy then?
Drugs, you could essentially not brainwash them, but you could make them crazy instantly. They could give you schizophrenia instantly. So the doctor that was behind that, Dr. Leslie, this is all a fact, by the way. This is not like these are declassified. The reporter who worked on this for 22 years of his life working on this was Tom O'Neill. So I know you're laughing, but I'm encouraging you to actually read it. It could just be something you didn't know. The book is called Chaos, the CIA, the 1960s, and MK Ultra.
Guys, can you do me a huge favor, please, and share this video? Take the URL, hit the share button. Does not matter. Plaster it everywhere. And guys, it does not matter if you think anybody's going to click the link or not. It does not matter. Just you telling YouTube that you like this and you want other people to see it. They will show it to more people. Let's keep the party raging, guys. Please share this video. Thank you.
And they MK Ultra'd, admittedly, in the documents, they MK Ultra'd Jacob Rubenstein, which is why the judge, on the day that he appeared, the second day that he appeared, said, what happened to him? I was speaking to him totally fine yesterday, and now you're telling me that he's legally insane.
But what I want you to know is, and I think the book is called Chaos, as you said, people read it. Some of the things that you're mentioning and the names that you're mentioning have been written about before. And just as maybe you weren't aware of the birth certificate, the other things, perhaps you weren't aware of the investigation.
So here's the one thing that you didn't know. So maybe everything that you disagree with me about is because you just don't know any better. Carl said, JFK, 9/11, these things happened so long ago, we will never know what really happened. Even if they released all the documents, would you believe them? I wouldn't. I mean, I would at least that gives us an anchoring of like, okay, this is what they're telling us. So if they're giving us a narrative then as to what happened, then there has to be some level of truth. There has to be some level of truth in terms of, where people were, in terms of, who worked where, who was in charge of what, all of those things. So they could definitely lie, but it at least gives us a starting point to fact check this and then this and then this and then this, instead of just questioning, well, what happened to Building 7? So, I mean, yeah, we remember it, but in terms of having a full understanding of what, if you don't do that immediately, you're never gonna know. You're never gonna know. and we can be pretty confident that like the CIA killed JFK, but we can never know for sure. It's just gone. Yep. That's the mind control.
Weren't aware of the birth certificate. The other things, perhaps you weren't aware of the investigations that have taken place before that.
You just can't shoot a president in broad daylight and then we pretend we don't know who did it. That's just that. You have to be a conspiracy theorist to believe our government had nothing to do with the shooting of JFK.
Yup. And said everyone knows the DoD funds movies and projects to see the masses. War increases the budget, creates revenue, and heals division. The pilots trained in Arizona, victim state, explosions coming. The pilots trained in Arizona. Victims state explosions coming from between them. Makes sense. Makes sense. Black Salami said Alex Jones predicted 9/11 and warned them before the attack. There's a clip of him a few weeks before it happened. Yeah, we've checked that one out before. And it's wild, but it's not that wild because the entire government knew about it. Now, I will give a little bit of grace in the sense that it's not reasonable to think that was the only threat coming in, and it's not like oh, they knew about this and nothing else and they just let it happen. So if that's the kind of thing that we can look at with the official narrative of what they are saying of did they know or did they not know, and when we can see things that we're aware that the CIA was aware of that 9/11 was supposed to happen before it happened, which is how Alex Jones knew. And the question is, who exactly knew and why wasn't it more widespread? I think by Italians, he means Tony Soprano. Pretty much. I mean, Al Capone, right?
Did it. That's just that. You have to be a conspiracy theorist to believe our government had nothing to do with the shooting of JFK. That's my viewpoint. It's too ridiculous.
Okay, I'll disagree with that because I just don't. I'm not a conspiracy theorist.
You should be.
Do you take offense when people call you a conspiracy theorist?
Do you think what?
Do you take offense when people call you a conspiracy?
No, because I've studied the history of psychology in this country, and I know that term.
They created that term specifically to do what Don Lemon just did. Well, that's conspiracy theory, so I don't even have to engage with it.
Term was actually entered into the American mindset after the shooting of JFK. They started using the term conspiracy theory to make people get off of their tail or not ask questions by making it seem like it's crazy to want to know who shot a sitting president in broad daylight. So on my show, I cover a lot about the history of psychology.
I wish you would have been, like you just did.
Psychology and propaganda. Edward Bernays, who's considered the father of propaganda in the United States. And you will learn that terms like that are meant to make you think that there's nothing here. You're a conspiracy theorist. No, it's common sense that the government would not hide who shot a sitting president unless it was done by the government. I think that's pretty obvious.
Yeah, and quite often the answer is the most obvious. Sometimes things are just conspiracy theories. Okay, so listen, there was, to be honest with you.
Yeah, we all remember. I was stood holding my colicky niece in front of the television. Fox said they wheeled the TV in on the cart with a strap over it. We watched the second plane hit live. 2-hour economics class in 11th grade. I was in Miss Schmidt's 6th grade social studies class, and this was later in the day. They didn't tell us about it. So for the entire morning, there were kids getting pulled out of class, and we were all just like, what is going on? Like, why are all these people leaving? Like, why are all these people getting called out? And then eventually, I think it was like 6th period out of like 8 or 9. And they were like, look, something's happened. And they kind of downplayed it, and they didn't give us any information. And so it wasn't until we went home that we actually realized what the fuck actually happened.
We had this debate and discussion about whether or not to do this interview today because of something that you said on your show. And members of my staff took offense to it. I actually took offense to it, and I did not watch the whole show. I saw the clip. But on your show, and
so again, but what, like in general, I get that. It's not reasonable to say, oh, because I brought you on my show, that I need to be familiar with everything you've ever said. That's not reasonable. But like, if you're specifically bringing this up, and you specifically, well, that really offended me and my people, and we weren't even going to bring you on over this. Why wouldn't you just watch the whole thing?
And I'm going to play the soundbite, and I want you to explain it, because you said specifically you were commenting on Dr. Joseph Mengele, right, and the experience, his experiments on prisoners in Auschwitz. And you said this, and I want to get you to explain to the audience of what you meant. Here it is.
On innocent people, Candace. Come on, that's the difference. They experimented on twins. I mean, some of the stories, by the way, sound completely absurd. Like the idea that they just like cut a human up and then sewed them back together. Why would you do that? Literally, even if you're the most evil person in the world, that's a tremendous waste of time and supplies. Just slice a person in half and sew them together. That just sounds like bizarre propaganda.
Okay.
The quality's gotta go. You have a good one. Thank you for coming by.
So, but you know, what you're saying is based on what you feel, again, as you say, you know, based on feelings rather than fact. There are so many facts to support what happened with Dr. Mengele. I wonder if you understand just how harmful it is for you to say things like that when there is documented evidence.
The condescension. I wonder if you understand how horrible you are.
Of Mengele's experiments. It is documented. It is not propaganda.
So would you like me to put that clip in context? Because
Sure,
I think it's really relevant. Sure. So first and foremost, I said
her show is only like 45 minutes. I don't know why you wouldn't just watch it. Like, clearly whatever is about to happen, you about to get smacked down. Anne said the third building was ash. Nothing resembled a structure. It was disintegrated. When does that happen? What resulted from 9/11? Was building 7 due to a plane? I sure don't think so. Black Sly said, oh no, he took offense. Don Lemon is a goofy goober. And also why Don Lemon is emotionless. Tell me you can be offended for another race over a racial topic. But how is that emotionless? If he's getting offended, that's an emotion. That's an emotion. Sam Marie said, I was living in foster care. Came home from school, put on the radio. The first plane had just hit. Phoned my mother as turning on the telly. The second plane hit live. That was surreal. So what was it like for you? Because I mean, I live, or I mean, at the time in general, I live about 45 minutes away from Ground Zero. My dad was working in Manhattan at the time, and luckily happened not to be working that day. But from and I mean, whether you're like from this little area, being that it was an attack on America. I would imagine that we all have somewhat of a similar type of experience, but being from a different country, what did that, what did you think? What did that do to you? Black Sly said building 7 didn't get hit by anything. It just fell for nothing like a demolition. Yep. Indeed.
they, which would probably indicate to most people that I was speaking about more than one person. And the show was about the things that we learn in school, the most horrific things that we learn in school, and how I will show you that what we did in America is actually worse. So
guys, we are coming up on the 2.5-hour mark, and we are just over halfway through this. So if you'd like to keep the party raging, you know how to do it. And of course, every donation goes not only gets a treat from Morty, but goes towards our swole goal.
The truth is that they, the Nazi scientists, were brought over to the United States after the war, an operation known as Operation Paperclip, and the experiments.
Yup. DOH.
That took place thereafter.
Yeah, the Patriot Act, right? Fuck that shit.
An operation known as Operation Paperclip, and the experiments that took place thereafter, the United States government, conducted way worse experiments, so chief among them being Sidney Gottlieb, who I spoke about on the show extensively in terms of the experiments that were enacted on our troops. Again, that terrifying book will really wake you up to what these Nazi scientists who were told are so horrific that we brought them over. The big piece, by the way, the reason why they cut out those 4 seconds and didn't talk about the entire monologue was because most Americans don't know about the other Holocausts that took place in the world, right? We can only talk about the feelings. You're talking about how people felt in your staff about a 4-second clip. Well, why don't you go talk to some of the Christians and maybe ask them how they feel about how it feels that when we talk about the Christian Holocaust, which is what this episode was about, the 12 million Germans that were ethnically cleansed, the Bolsheviks who mass murdered Christians, Henry Kagoda, who was the greatest mass murderer of the 20th century, who put us into concentration camps. Suddenly the media gets mad and they take out 4 seconds and they, again, somehow make it about Jewish people in the Holocaust.
Sarah Marie said, I thought it was the beginning of World War III. I mean, it wasn't that naive. It definitely could have been. It definitely could have been. And for Americans, we entered a 20-year war. So maybe not World War III, but the next step down. The next step down.
The media gets mad and they take out 4 seconds and they, again, somehow make it about Jewish people in the Holocaust. That's not the only Holocaust that happened. And I will use my platform to speak about the atrocities that Christians face, and I will do so unapologetically. So if you're looking for an apology for me saying that the idea that the Nazi scientists did this, and it was so horrific that we then decided to bring them over to the United States.
The same way that, Trump is Hitler, but now we're going to have a peaceful transfer of power.
You're not going to get one. I'm at a place where I'm really
I'm not
tired.
But we will get one with Trump because he's not a Nazi. Obviously. Black Salami said the government lost track of $3 trillion. Then suddenly the room storing the documents about where all that money went got blown up on the 9/11 in the Pentagon. Yep. Thank you, Candace says, and nobody seems to listen. I don't know what that is. A lot more? I don't know what that is. Box said, I will fight anyone that deserves fighting, but that is my choice. All right.
Like everybody's feelings mattering more than the history of what was done to Christians.
Okay.
I think it's time. I think it's okay for us to talk about the Christian Holocaust. It's 2024. Let's talk about the Bolshevik Revolution and what they did to Christians.
Okay, a couple of different things there. I'm not asking you to apologize. I just wanted to know what you meant by that. And what I heard in that clip had nothing to do with what you said, because you said...
Yeah, because it was just the clip. You got offended by a clip without understanding what the clip was. That's her point. So it almost doesn't even really matter what she said, because you didn't get the understanding of the message behind what she was saying. That should be the point here. This should be a perfect example of why Don Lemon isn't, or rather Candace should be using this to demonstrate why Don Lemon does not deserve his own podcast. Samarie said, joining in on thanking Miss Owens. She is truly a queen. Holodomor is a genocide post-World War I and pre-World War II. Mass starvation of Ukraine in the 1930s. Millions of people starved to death. Typical commie deal. The goddamn commies. Shout out to VHX 201 in the building. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the party. I don't know. Nobody know. I don't know. There's shit in the sky and we don't know what it is. So that's where the conversation ends until we get more information on what it is. But welcome, welcome, welcome to the party. Sorry, I didn't have anything more interesting to say about it, but I don't know what it is. We don't know what it is. So
what I heard in that clip had nothing to do with what you said, because you said you thought it was ridiculous, the method by which Dr. Mangala was doing his work.
I didn't say Dr. Mangala. I said they. So
Okay.
right there, you're
Okay.
live
So you
editing
said they.
according to what Zionist media who
we're 3 minutes away from the 2.5 hour mark. If you guys want to keep the party raging, let's do it. Let's do it.
were upset that I talked about how Israel protected the mass murderers.
You think what let's just specifically, you think what happened with Dr. Mangala is true? You believe that? Is that
there were definitively experiments on twins. I specifically said we were told, and I don't even think they still say this, by the way, and you can fact check this, that they cut. And I didn't even say a twin. I said they cut a human being, right? And then they sewed them back together. I don't know how this became about Dr. Mengele's twins, as the media just goes off and says whatever they want.
Well, that's your answer.
I don't think they still say that. There were a lot of things that we learned, and I would talk about in this episode, that have since been updated, and have people will say that, okay, it wasn't that part that was true. The correct thing is this is what's happened. I'm not sure. I mean, you can definitely fact check that, and you should. I don't think anymore they teach that somebody was cut in half and then sewn back up like an individual. I don't think so.
I think that they still do teach the truth about what happened.
No, and it's not.
Let me ask you this.
Wow.
Why do you feel the need then to defend Nazis or
Nazis aren't alive?
Oh, good one there. But first, let's shout out our boy Bucks for keeping the party raging. Said Sponte. I don't know what that means. So I probably shouldn't say it out loud, but I trust you. I trust you that you're not going to be sending shit that will get me in trouble. So I'll say it. I'll say it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. Out sponsoring yourself. We got two people holding it all up. Holding it all up. Thank you very, 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 very much.
And
great line here from Candace. Great line.
Nazis or
Nazis aren't alive anymore, so we got to stop you calling everybody a Nazi.
Why do you feel the need then to sort of go down this rabbit hole and to defend something that was horrific and to say that, we had other, why are you comparing what happened in the Holocaust to other atrocities? Because it's awful. Why can't you just stick with the Holocaust? And
why can't I
just stick with the Holocaust? What does that mean? You don't ever talk about anything ever except the Holocaust. If you ever talk about anything except the Holocaust, then you're a racist. You're a Holocaust denier. To act as if anything else ever happened. To act as if any other group has ever been marginalized. Well, I mean, we could talk about black people for sure. I mean, we could talk about transes for sure. We could also talk about women. For sure. But Christians.
How dare you?
You shut your goddamn mouth. Just saying. He said Nazi. He said it. He fucking said it. Ham said, tell me why the World Almanac shows that the only population reduction pre-1949 was Christian Catholic and Christians in the sum of approximately 17 million. Because they got murdered. Zippy said, I'm fine using Nazi for leftists, though. Why, though? Why? Then you're
No. Well, technically, you're more like the Nazis because technically the Nazis are not Nazis.
No, like, stop playing their game. As Candace just said, the Nazis are dead. The Nazis are dead. We can talk about neo-Nazis, sure, but those people are not fighting for Hitler. And yeah, they definitely. But don't.
How dare
You're not allowed to talk about that. You just got to stick with the Holocaust, bro. Just stick with the Holocaust. That's the way to do journalism. You stick with one thing only, and you talk about it in the way that we want you to talk about it. What did I miss? Monsters. Well, I don't know what you're saying, girl. Okay, going on. Shout out to Carl with the $2. Thank you, sir. Say they ignore the biggest Holocaust, abortion. Let's give one to Morty. And a dilly to Carl. Well said, sir. Indeed. The biggest Holocaust there ever was or ever will be. Well, we don't know about that for sure, but definitely. Facts on facts on facts. Well said. All right. Let's see why Candace just can't stick with the Holocaust.
Happened in the Holocaust to other atrocities because it's awful. Why can't you just stick with the Holocaust? And
why can't I cover Christian history? What is this? What do you mean stick with the Holocaust? What do you mean by that?
People's actions? I don't understand that.
Nobody defended any actions. That episode was about the fact that after the war, and this was a BBC documentary, not a Candace Owens documentary. It's a BBC documentary. And I played parts of the documentary. It talks about how the Allies committed atrocities against the German-speaking civilians. They were not people who voted for Hitler. They were not Nazis. They were children who were lined up and shot. Their bodies were thrown on the ground while they were alive, and they were rolled over on cars. The footage is in the BBC documentary. It's called The Savage Peace.
Yikes. Is that... All right, we might get in trouble, but let's see. What did she say? The Savage Peace. Okay, we got a 6-minute one here. We got a whole... all right, let's just see what this is. A neo-Nazi is somebody who claims to be a Nazi now. They should just be called now Nazis. That was it? All right. Well, I guess we're not going to get there, but maybe we'll try to find that in the after party. Make sure you join as a member so you can join the after party. All right. So Vox has kept us going for a little while, guys, but we are not even one more is halfway there. And 6 more, and I'm on the floor, guys. 99 cents will do it. 99 cents counts.
They were rolled over on cars. The footage is in the BBC documentary. It's called The Savage Peace. When people watch this documentary, they are so astonished and shocked that we didn't learn about it in school. That
So what is all this, Box? What is this meant to? What is that meant to signify? You doing okay, brother? You all right? You're working out here. Right? Can't say that out loud. As you said, if British World War II, if it's British World War II recordings, yeah, I don't care. Fuck them.
It's called The Savage Peace. When people watch this documentary, they are so astonished and shocked that we didn't learn about it in school that they begin asking real serious questions. And one of those questions that you ask is, why are we not told about the mass killing of Christians all around the world? What you just said, like, why can't we just let it be about the Holocaust? What is that? Well, that's like the most selfish thing in the entire world. Let me finish. The most selfish thing in the entire world is for me to spend an hour talking about the atrocities that innocent Christians who had nothing to do with Adolf Hitler faced, and then to have Zionist media talking heads somehow make it about the Holocaust. It's not about the Holocaust, okay? Christians suffered too. In fact, we are the most persecuted religion in the world. And I am so sick of it. I am so sick of there can only be one victim narrative.
He is laughing. Bro, you're just so ignorant. You're so dumb. Like, I'm an atheist. I'm an atheist. I think all religion is dumb as shit. I think it's all wrong. It's all bad. But facts are facts. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Like, if you don't, again, we got to retroactively. This is the first. You guys are witnessing Indian Jesus history. The first retroactive projection. So because Candace didn't know about the birtherism thing, he can say, oh, well, maybe because you didn't know that you just don't know about this stuff. But then he talks about well-documented history. And she specifically, what's the word I'm looking for? Hold on, my brain stopped working. She's specifically citing the BBC. And he's over here laughing. I don't get it. I don't get it. Shout out to DSM Lee for the Rumble Rant. Thank you, sir. We can count that. I'll count that. We're halfway there. That's halfway there. Let's get party on train. Zippy says, okay, to be fair, Christians are also the most powerfulest religion in the world. For now. And that is absolutely true. But that is, what did I share yesterday? Is it right here? I shared something. Yes.
I want you guys to watch a short clip from a Florida imam on Christianity.
We bought 3 churches so far.
So in case you can't see, can we see that? Okay. We bought 3 churches so. Can you? Yeah. Well, okay. I'll just say we bought 3 churches so far.
Converted them to mosques.
Converted them to mosques.
And now we have one. We are buying with a school to make it, because we have to serve the same people.
Just wait.
Schools? People who were part of that community. One day they will be Muslims.
Say what?
So we'll make it into a masjid and an Islamic school.
So they're turning regular schools into Islamic
for our children and their children, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Are you listening?
Years ago, they invaded the Muslim world and they built missionary schools and destroyed Islamic schools and masjids. Today,
this isn't like Saudi Arabia. This isn't Iran. This is Florida. This is Ron DeSantis territory.
We bring the favor back.
We turn their churches into
and
mosques,
their schools into Islamic schools.
and their schools into Islamic schools. Bring the light of Islam
Bring
here.
the light of Islam to here.
You know, I'm going to give them props because they are not even hiding behind it.
They don't need to.
I'm going to give them props because they are honest about it. And I'm going to also tell you something, that there isn't much that we can do about it, because historically Christians have been turning the other cheek, and you know what's going to happen is going to happen, while they have been doing what they've been doing, which is why they are about to control a few countries in Europe. And if you think that United States is protected, if you think that this is not going to happen in the United States, if you think that this is not going to happen in a few states, think again. Think again. One city in America that you need to pay attention to.
Who knows what he's going to say? One city in America that you need to pay attention to when we're talking about imams speaking like that. Who could he be talking about? Let's see what I missed here. Am said, what about the Japanese? They terrorized my Lola and barbarically tortured women and children in the Philippines. The Manila massacre, 100,000 plus killed in less than a month during World War II. Bach said, I stopped converting people to atheism. It never made me feel good. Why? What does that mean? I don't like telling people the truth because they're too pathetic to learn things, to be able to survive without a fairy tale. A little condescending. Yep. Sarah Marie said, Zippy said, okay, fair. Christians, we got that one. Christianity mounted a rebellion against all the Nazis over Germany. Sadly, they were thrown into camps and executed just like Jews. Yep. What about God? Lex Lonnie said, what do you have against Jesus, bro? Jesus, bro, is a legend or moral ethics regardless. Yeah, I don't have anything against Jesus. I just don't think that he was the Son of God. Carl said, anyone who would sell their church to Muslims is suspect as a teacher anyway. Oh, honey. Oh, honey. Oh, honey, sweetie baby. Yeah, because that's not a real Christian.
Bingo.
Yep.
Bingo.
And shout out to Brad. Minneapolis is bad too, but specifically talking about Dearborn, Michigan. Atheism is not a belief in nothing. It is the lack of a belief, and it is nothing. That's why you need to have beliefs on top of your lack of belief. So the same way you feel about leprechauns and unicorns, that's how I feel about God. I don't have a belief about them. I just don't believe, except for the fact that they don't exist. And that's because you don't understand, but that's okay. Moving on.
One city in America that you need to pay attention to, Dearborn, Michigan. Just look what's been happening in Dearborn, Michigan in the last 3 years. Go down the rabbit hole, read the newspapers, go on social media, go on Google, and see what is happening in Dearborn. And I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying it's...
No, it's not. No, it's not. I have a lack of a belief. I don't know whether God exists. I don't believe God doesn't exist. I don't believe God exists. Those are two different things. And if you're not willing to see the difference between the semantics that are extremely important, do you believe? So that's like saying if somebody says, I don't know about aliens. You're saying, oh, you don't believe they could possibly exist? No, that's not what I said. That's absolutely not what I said. That is almost the opposite of what I said. I just said, I don't know. That is not a belief. Carl said, I didn't say they weren't real Christians. I said they are suspect as a teacher or a leader. There's a difference. I mean, still, there's a lot like that. Whether you want to say they're bad Christians or not bad Christians, they're just bad as leaders and teachers. Cognitive dissonance, I get the same excuses from... what excuse? Not believing is choosing a truth to believe in. No, what truth is it? You tell me the truth that I believe in. Which is the truth that I believe in? because I don't believe nothing. So again, the question is, what is the truth that I'm believing in? What is a belief? What is the belief? I'm asking you the belief. What is the belief? I understand you believe, I think, that you said the truth is you don't believe in a God. That is the truth, but that's not a belief. I don't believe God does exist. I don't believe God doesn't exist. I say I don't know whether or not God exists. That is not that's not what believe means. Shout out to Box. Said can you look up the 1984 presidential election map? Sure. I could do that. Here you go. That's from our boy Box out sponsoring himself. 1984 presidential election map. Damn. That's wild. How did I change what I said? What did I say before that changed what I said? I don't know why you guys feel so such a need to dictate what
is good.
What dictate is what is other people's minds. So again, if we say that leprechauns exist, that is a truth claim. If we say leprechauns don't exist, that is a truth claim. If you say I don't know if leprechauns exist, that is not a truth claim. That's what those words mean. I'm sorry that you don't like it, but that's why everybody tells you the same thing, because it's the same thing. Just because you don't like it doesn't make it not true. Brad said, I don't accept the claim that unicorns exist either. Bingo. Ooh, that's a belief, bro. That's a belief. That's an affirmative statement. Anyway,
just saying.
Dearborn, Michigan, watch out. They believe you are the secular world. They believe you, just like me, are the secular world. Anything less than Sharia is secular to them. You will need us just like we will need you. So let's be on the same team.
It's not about the Holocaust, okay? Christians suffered too. In fact, we are the most persecuted religion in the world. And I am so sick of it. I am so sick of there can only be one victim narrative. And if you start talking about
and we are not the most persecuted in the world. Come on.
That is a fact. What are you saying? We're not the most persecuted in the world. You know what's happening in our
privilege harder, Danny?
Armenia? Do you know what's happening in Nigeria? Do you know what just happened in Canada? The fake story that was propagated by all of the mainstream networks about the nuns, and they found the mass burial, which allowed 85 Catholic churches to.
I have never in my life said there is no God. So wrong. I have never said, I believe there is no God. I said, I don't believe there is a God. Those are different statements.
To be burned to the ground in the last 3 years in Canada, we are still being persecuted right now. Okay. So I take great offense to you coming in here about the sensitivities of the people that are working on your show when I'm sitting here telling you that I'm a Christian and I'm offended by what you're saying, and you laugh, you mock Christian persecution.
Is this about the sponsorship? Because he's given 17 and now what, another plus another 5. So I mean I appreciate everybody, but it's cumulative. So we have that, but then Box has that and that and that and that and that. So I hope we're not. I hope we're clear on what the sponsorship is. The highest amount of donation, and I believe that's $5.30. So either way, $10 is more than $5.30. Just so we're clear.
I'm offended by what you're saying, and you laugh. You mock Christian persecution. Do you think people to laugh when someone tells you about Christian persecution? Because let me tell you something. If I had done that, I would laugh about the Holocaust.
I don't think it's funny.
I would be chased out of polite society. Then don't laugh. Don't laugh at Christian persecution. Don't do it.
Laughable is mean that the whole.
Fair that people get confused, but I've always used the same agnostic atheists that are not mutually exclusive, that Gnosticism has to do with knowledge, theism has to do with belief in a god or gods. A is a prefix that means without. So I'm without knowledge and without a belief. I understand that people usually think that that means agnostic. They're just wrong, because atheists are typically not very good at talking about this stuff, which I understand. So just because other atheists are stupid doesn't change the definition of words. Shout out to Indy Bell! Welcome to the party. Just kidding, that's Guam Tag. Good to see ya. Can't say that out loud, but I definitely, well, I mean, either way, he is, right? He is. Well, if you're not talking to me, then okay, well, that's what it seemed like. I don't know. You're talking to my chat. You're not tagging anybody. How am I supposed to know? We all love Morty, don't we? All love Morty. Yep, that's where they're heading. You will own nothing and be happy. That's what they want. That is what they want.
The name is in the term. It's laughable.
Do not
But let me
laugh.
say that
You
it
literally
sounds
just
like,
laughed
Candace,
when I
what
talked about
you're
Christian
saying is-
persecution.
what you're
Don't do that
saying-
ever again. Not in my presence.
What you're saying is, okay, Candace, thank you. So what you're saying is,
how again with the condescension, just okay, yeah, whatever about your persecution. Meanwhile, you're gonna sit here and build an entire career off of being a fucking victim.
Don't do that ever again. Not in my presence.
what you're saying is, okay, Candace, thank you. So what you're saying is, oh, you know what? The Holocaust was bad, but look over here. These people were worse than the Holocaust, so we should.
That's not.
Never did she make the comparison. Never ever did she make the comparison. All she said was, "This is happening," and this happened.
Like, I'm telling you, that's what it sounds like.
You just said you didn't watch the episode.
No, but I'm saying that's what it sounds like. That's what you're saying. I don't have to watch the episode. I was listening to the words that you just said. You just spent 3 or 4 minutes talking about the other atrocities and how bad they were.
Yes, the other atrocities that have happened in human history outside of the Holocaust are things that we are relevant and allowed to talk about, especially when the numbers of Christians that were persecuted following the Russian Revolution and the manner in which they were killed, people that were beheaded, priests that were shot. Yes, it is. I can talk about Christian history, and I don't need to feel guilty about that, and I won't.
That's
okay.
fine. All right, good. You don't have to.
Shout out again to Box, our sponsor of the stream. Very much appreciate.
And please, genuinely. Please, when I come on your show, have enough respect not to laugh when I talk about Christian persecution, because you would never do that if I was Jewish and I was talking about the Holocaust.
You can't tell
you
me
would never do that.
You should have enough respect to know not to tell people how to react. You can't tell someone not to laugh.
Okay. Well, then I double dare you when a Jewish person is talking about persecution of Jews to laugh. You won't do it.
I won't do it because I actually believe that there were persecution of Jews, and
you don't believe that Christians were persecuted.
My thought.
Oh, he's like, I gotta keep talking. I didn't mean to say that. Brad said, not accepting a claim does not mean you believe the opposite to be true. Bingo. Not a hard concept, in my opinion. Agreed.
Believe that there is persecution of Christians. I don't think it's the most persecuted religion in the world. Okay, so listen. Consider. Okay, laughable. Good, you agree with me. Thank you. So listen, when
that's the cheap trick that whenever somebody is saying that I say something ridiculous, I'm like, I agree, you are ridiculous. Come on, man. Jesus Christ. God is dead and we killed him. Not yet, but we're on our way. And Am said Candace is 100% correct. Absolutely. And again, even as an atheist, I completely agree with her, and I'm on her side. And because it's not about that. It's not about whose team. It's about the truth.
When you know what happened with you was a Daily Wire, right? Is that the network you were on? What happened?
Oh yeah, you had no idea.
Happened with you at the Daily Wire because of your stance on what's
Daily
happening.
Wire? Is that it? Daily Wire?
And what you just explained. My question to you is, because people think that you are you anti-Semitic?
No, I'm not anti-Semitic.
Go on.
What? That was a yes or no question. Are you or aren't you? I'm not. That's it.
Go on with what? You asked me a question. I answered it.
You said
I don't need to launch into defense of myself because I'm just not anti-Semitic. There's nothing that I need to add. I guess today anti-Semitism, the definition keeps expanding, and now I guess it means if you don't fall over yourself every time Bibi Netanyahu speaks, they're just going to call you an anti-Semite. Nope, I'm a Christian. Kids being bombed.
I mean, there's definitely anti-Semitic people, but that doesn't mean that just because you don't like Israel, you don't like fucking Netanyahu or all that shit is anti-Semitic. Those are different things.
Is upsetting to me, and I have a right to say that without being called an anti-Semite. And if you want to call me an anti-Semite for it, I simply don't care.
I'm not calling you an anti-Semite. I'm at, because people call you that, and I think, look, if you
just leave the glasses on or off, bro.
There's a the whole talk about Zionism and anti-Semitism and whatever. I think it's a conversation that you just can't win. But I would like for you to be able.
Some of us aren't trying to win conversations. Some of us are trying to get to truth. Some of us are trying to make the world better. Clearly, people like you are trying to win, but the rest of us are out here trying to make the world better. I mean, I think, guys, if he had hair plugs, it would look better than this. I feel like this is just a balding man. To her, I would agree. In general, I disagree. There's a lot. I see a lot of anti-Semitism that is just about. It has nothing to do with Israel. It has to do about Jews. Agree or disagree with the sentiment. If you're categorizing an entire group and that group happens to be Jews, that is anti-Semitism. But with her, I agree. Black Salami said, the belief you have doesn't have to be the opposite of the statement someone is making. I guarantee you still believe in something about any topic anytime you're asking a question. I don't know what that means. I don't get why you won't claim your own thoughts in your heads. I am. You're just not believing me. I keep telling you exactly what it is, and as did Brad, but you just choose to say, no, you're wrong about your own thoughts. So, okay, dude, if you want to believe that I believe something different than what I told you I believe, that's fine. You can believe whatever you want. I just don't believe that a God exists, but I could be very easily convinced. At this point in time, I don't have a belief that a God exists. That is not a non-belief. That doesn't mean I believe no God exists. It's just very simple. I don't know. Like, okay, Black Salami. Do you think there's dirty dishes in my sink right now? Okay, so do you think there's dishes in my sink right now, Black Salami? That's a question, a direct question to you. Dishes in my sink, yes or no?
Whatever. I think it's a conversation that you just can't win. But I would like for you to be able to explain yourself, because
Judaism is not Zionism, and it doesn't matter how many people insist that it is. It's just not. It's a political party, and it puts the interests of Israel above everything else. I grew up with Jewish people. Jewish people are my best friends.
I know there could be. I'm not asking if it's possible if there are dishes in my sink. I'm asking you, do you believe that there are dishes in my sink? Or wait. I'm not asking if you think are there dishes in my sink? Yes or no? Yeah, that's a simple answer to a different question, but that's not the possibility of dishes is not what I asked you. I asked you, is there dishes in my sink? Yes or no?
And this is the nation of Israel is not Judaism. It's a nonsense.
Okay, why is it a terrible example then? How am I tiptoeing about what? Tiptoeing up what? What are you talking about? Okay, you're just sorry, bro. I can't get. So okay, fine. We'll use Box. Box says yes. So if the the fact that you believe there's dishes in my sink, if I told you that there wasn't, then what would you think? That's not the question I'm asking you. I know there could be. I'm asking you if there is. Okay, well, if you're not smart enough, then
with Jewish people. Jewish people are my best friends. This is the nation of Israel is not Judaism. It's a nonsense to suggest that we can critique, as we did earlier, talking about Joe Biden, that we can critique our own president and nobody cares, because we should. You should be able to hold leaders and their decisions and their.
So the obvious answer is I don't know. The obvious answer is I don't know. That is neither a belief that there are dishes in the sink, nor a belief that there are no dishes in the sink. You don't know. You do not have a belief on whether or not there are dishes in my sink, because all you're saying is that it's possible. I mean, yeah, there's definitely better examples. This is the first thing I thought of, and still made my point with a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad example.
We can critique our own president and nobody cares because we should. You should be able to hold leaders and their decisions and their feet to the fire. And then to say that if you do the exact same thing over what Bibi Netanyahu's actions are, then you're somehow anti-Semitic.
Okay, I understand that, and I don't disagree. I think you can criticize and analyze the actions of the Israeli government, the IDF, and also Bibi Netanyahu. But to say that, listen, I'm not anti-Semitic because I have Jewish.
You got it, bro. You're so smart, and I'm just so dumb that you know me better than I even know me. It's insane. You should. You know what? Yeah, come on over. You should run the channel, bro.
Friends. It's kind of like saying I have black friends. I don't think that actually helps your argument, Kim.
No, I didn't say that. What I was saying is that I have Jewish friends. Judaism is not Zionism, as in I have friends who are Jewish who don't support what's happening overseas.
Shout out to Boss with another $2. My goodness. Thank you very, very much, sir. Let's keep the party raging. And of course, that is one more towards the swole goal. 4 more, and I'm on the floor.
Okay.
Judaism is not Zionism. They don't stop being Jewish because they disagree with what Bibi Netanyahu is doing.
Okay, you say that you're not anti-Semitic, but I can't tell you what's in your heart. I believe you. You said that you're not anti-Semitic. You don't believe that you're anti-Semitic. But there are anti-Semites and neo-Nazis. They do love you. And I want to play this clip. This is from Nick Fuentes, his show just this week. Watch this.
One other big development, Candace Owens did a show today. She did her show, and she talked about my beef with Jordan Peterson. And so I really appreciate her covering it. We love Candace Owens. She's beautiful. She's very intelligent, and she is really hardcore. She's been going off.
Does that bother you that, and that's why
this is the exact same thing as like, well, Donald Trump, David Duke said he supports you. Or when Emma Vigilant went into the culture war and was like, well, neo-Nazis like your show, so what do you have to say about that? Shut up.
That's the whole reason I said, it looks this way, and maybe that's not your intention, as you said, but it looks this way. Like you're saying, hey, don't look at what happened with the Holocaust. Look over.
Nobody said don't look at what happened with the Holocaust. You're just squeezing in these ideas that you think you're right, and you're not listening. And because you think that you are right, that you could just squish, whatever facts you want in there. Sorry, no. Reality is, in fact, reality.
Look over here. But if you have people like Nick Fuentes that said, hey, we love you, whatever, maybe your message isn't hitting correctly. What do you think of Fuentes saying that?
Well, you wear glasses. And I just heard that Nick Fuentes went to the ophthalmologist, and he also is going to be wearing glasses. How do you feel about that?
You're just
This neo-Nazi audience love you.
Sure. So now you're just conflating things because you're still kind of trying to sell this narrative that this somehow is about Jewish people. What Nick Fuentes is talking about, which is the first time I'm seeing it because I don't watch Nick Fuentes nearly as much as apparently everybody in the mainstream media does. What he's talking about is what I covered on my show as a news item, which was Jordan Peterson and him having a back and forth. Where Michaela, Dr. Jordan Peterson, is, by the way, very lovely, very.
You know what they say about assuming? It makes an ass out of you and me.
Kind person, but it was a very newsworthy item when Michaela and Peterson, being his daughter, called for censorship.
Hey, shout out to Zippy. Yes, Emily with another Rumble rant. Said Palestine is like Florida trying to be Haiti. Yikes. So that's 2. We're at 6. 2 more, guys. 2 more. And we are on the floor. Thank you so very, very much, sir. Thank you.
Nick.
Oh, let me update this.
Michaela and Peterson, being his daughter, called for censorship, called for straight up censorship. She's like, we need to have censorship, anybody that uses the term filth. And it was a back and forth between her and Nick Fuentes because he responded and he said, your father literally called me a rat last week. This was a trending item on Twitter. I covered it on my show to the extent that Nick Fuentes enjoyed the fact that I covered it in a meaningful capacity because it is problematic when anybody calls for censorship. I don't care if the person's on the left or the person's on the right. You will make an enemy of me because I support the First Amendment and I believe that we have to have free speech. What can I say about that? It's an absurd thing for people to keep pretending. I'm a person that has across social media 10 million followers. And when you start getting desperate because you can't actually pull something that I've said, you start going, well, what do you think about this account? And this person has also said this, and this person likes you. If you did that, and I was then accountable for the words that every single person that followed me said, there's no way you can survive that. I could do that right now to you. I could have had my producers look at this person who follows Don Lemon. They've said something against Black people. So Don Lemon, it's like, that's a ridiculous thing to say.
He said 100%. So you agree that was that showing that clip was irrelevant and a waste of time.
To the extent that you ask me, and this has happened before, as Piers Morgan did, he said, this is some things that Nick Fuentes has said. Do you agree with it? And I said, no, I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
Hold me accountable for what I actually
Well,
said.
that was the reason I asked you about it. Because
but
yeah,
but I
so
don't
I'm
agree.
not,
That
don't
you
take
showed
offense.
me.
I'm not, it's not, this is not a gotcha. I'm asking you.
But that is such a gotcha. That is such a gotcha to say it's nothing that you said, but let me show you this person who likes.
Guys, again, you never, ever, ever have to apologize for not donating to the show. That's why it's called donating. This is a free show. So if you are here, I am more than happy that you are here. The donations are extra. And that's all there is to it. So if you've never dropped a dime, that is totally fine. This is a free show for a reason. And when people do, maybe they're in different places in life, or maybe they just really, 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 really like me. Like Boss with another $5 said Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. Which is why it was that. That was Canada, right? Where there was a lady praying silently outside an abortion clinic and she got arrested? That couldn't have been the US, right? That had to have been Canada. Or a European. That definitely wasn't America, right? I'll be very sad if that was America. I feel like I would remember if it was America, but you guys know what I'm talking about, right? But yeah, exactly. Thank you, Box, for another $5. Again, out sponsoring your stuff. Oh, it's the UK. Okay, yeah. Wild. Insane. Thank you. Hey, look at me. We got me. Hey, welcome to the party. So it's a fact that the KKK endorsed Obama in his first term in office. David Duke is a Democrat with socialist views. Loser. David Duke served in office as a Democrat and also an ex-grand wizard of the KKK. I don't know. I don't know what that last part means. But yeah, not a good guy. And just because, well, actually, how did that ever become like whatever? Because that's a such a common thing. Well, maybe in the first presidential run, that was such a common thing. Bring up David Duke, KKK. How did they initially? If this is the case, then what was the initial thing that connected David Duke and Trump in the news? Yep. Zippy says America was founded as a secular nation. Did people forget? Indeed, they did. Oh my goodness, Box, you are just blessing us with another $5. Thank you. Said Canada just banned like 300 more guns. They said they were going to send them to Ukraine because that's going to prevent them from killing people. What? I don't know what to say. The stupidity never ends. Thank you, sir. Let's dive back in.
But that is such a gotcha. To say it's nothing that you said, but let me show you this person who likes you. Because what you're trying to do is play the strategy with the public so they watch it and they go, well, she must be saying all sorts of things if this person likes her. Most people do like if you're going to say something on their show and you're showing the back forth that, he's obviously going to say, look, Candace covered this issue in a way that's consistent with the beliefs of the First Amendment. So he may say something that I fundamentally disagree with. But if Nick Fuentes says 1 + 1 = 2, and I agree with that, that doesn't mean that I subscribe to everything Nick Fuentes says. If Nick Fuentes says only women can give birth, and I agree with that, you then go, oh, look, Nick Fuentes is celebrating you because you said only women can give birth. I mean, this is you're smarter than this, Don. You're in the public sphere. Is he though?
I don't know about that. He might genuinely be this dumb. Gomtek said, I'll have to pay myself when I get home and after I eat dinner. I'm freaking famished right now. I mean, actually, so am I, but we might not make it. So we will see. Zippy said, Nazis and communists are not atheists. Their state is religion. Bingo. Yup.
You know, we
Wait.
cannot be beholden or responsible
Wait a
for every comment that is made by people who support us and follow us.
Well,
4,
that's why I
5,
put it up there
6,
because
7,
if
8,
someone like
9,
Nick
10,
Fuentes was
11,
saying good
12,
things about
13,
some of the
14,
things that
15,
I
16,
believed
17,
or what I said,
17.
that would actually be problematic for me. And I would want to respond to that. I would welcome the opportunity for Candace Owens to play that clip on her show so that I could knock it down and say, I don't believe in anything Nick Fuentes or any of his followers or viewers or whatever.
Why is it her responsibility to say that? Why is it her responsibility to find all of the people in the world that say bad things and also like her content and disavow all of them? That is ridiculous. That is ridiculous.
I don't understand why they are happy with what I said, but this is what I believe, and this is the context.
I do believe that it is problematic that Michaela Peterson called for censorship. So I can't knock that down. I can't say, like, what do you want me to say on the show? Well, because Nick Fuentes agrees with that perspective, I'm now anti-speech. That doesn't, I believe in free speech. I believe that what Michaela Peterson said was wrong. I genuinely believe that.
Okay.
Like you can't just call for censorship.
I've got to ask you about this because this is from your old show. And as I said, there are some things, I mean, you've actually defended me before. And I was like, wow, Candace Owens, whatever. And there are things that I do where I say, you know what, Candace got it right. I like it. And there are other things where I'm like, oh my gosh, why the fuck is she saying that? Right. And this is one thing.
You're on YouTube, bro. You could just say fuck.
Thing that I've been wanting to ask you about, Candace, because it really bothered me. But I want the explanation in the context, as you say.
Do you have any clips of anything that like you agreed with, or we're just gonna like
nope.
And this is a friendly interview, as you can like. Okay, just wondering, is there even one clip of something that you agree with?
I don't know. Maybe I agree with the next clip, but anyway, roll the next clip, please.
Bring shame back.
You believe that, Don? Bring shame back?
Bring back saying you are disgusting, you are wrong, you are a hoe, you are a pervert. Call things for what they are. And that is another way that they've psychologically tried to transform speech in America by saying like, oh, okay, you have free speech, but if you say that word, like if you say like, oh, that's whack or that's gay, then that would make you a homophobe. You don't want to be a homophobe, do you? It's no, we shouldn't do that. And it's even been the disappearance of words that actually had real meanings, like growing up, majoring in English, reading old English novels and understanding that a word like is a real word. It means a bundle of sticks.
Okay, so listen, you were.
Oh, baby. Oh, baby. We getting into the F slur. The F slur. The F slur.
Listen, I believe in free speech, right? But I also
there you go.
Believe that free speech comes with consequences. So the word you said was right. Is that exactly the word? So what did you mean by that? You think it's okay to say the word, to call people
So Behave says Democrat Senator Byrd was an ex-Grand Wizard. He served for decades, and even Obama went to his funeral. Senator Byrd thought Obama and people like him were mud race mongrels. Yikes! But yeah, so then how did he? Not Byrd, but David Duke. How did David Duke get connected to Trump to where the media was just asking about him all the time? Yeah.
To their face?
No, actually, I said words have meaning. And so when you start allowing the perverts to dictate speech, then words just have to go away. And as I said in that clip, when I was growing up and I was reading English novels, when people say you're walking through the woods to get it meant a bundle of sticks. And then they said you can no longer say this word that has a real meaning, right? A bundle of sticks, because some pervert took that and threw it as an epithet towards gay people. I think that's actually, that's a wrong way of thinking, because then what you're doing is you're allowing perverts to dictate society. So I don't like the death of the English language because people are getting offended. So that's like, I could pick any word. I could say, plant. And from now on, every time I see a gay guy, I'm gonna be like, he's a total plant. And then eventually they say you can't say plant anymore. It's like,
you know what we gotta do, guys. Every time we say plant, you know what it means. Don Lemon is planty as fuck.
No. This is a real word that has meaning. Attack the person who's perverting the word, but you don't suddenly disappear a word and you say you can no longer say it, or you can no longer read these Virginia Woolf novels.
That's so planty.
Because the word has been perverted. I think that's a backwards way of thinking.
Read Virginia Woolf novels, and the only people I know who are trying.
Nope. You can still buy genderqueer and all that shit on Amazon. We just want to keep it out of schools. The damn plants. So I mean, they're Black Islamic. Here's the thing: there's a lot of atheists who do claim that they don't believe in God, but that's their own thing. That's not what atheism is. Maybe you're confused because there are atheists who do say, I believe no God exists. Those are a lot of atheists. But there's also atheists who believe all dogs should die. That has nothing to do with atheism. You have atheists who believe that Breaking Bad is the best show ever. I happen to agree with that, but it has nothing to do with atheism. You have atheists who love Don Lemon. That has nothing to do with atheism. Atheism is simply the lack of a belief in a particular God or gods. It is not the claim that I know no gods exist. I don't know that no gods exist. That's what makes me agnostic. I am an agnostic, I do not know, atheist without a belief. It's that simple. That is what I believe. I don't know who else you've talked to, but I don't know when else you've heard me be this emphatically lying about anything. Why would I do that? I honestly don't give a shit enough about what you think of me or any of you think about me to lie about what I believe. Sorry. It's not worth my energy to lie to you. I don't give a fuck what you think. You could think I'm the best Christian ever or the worst atheist, or you could believe I'm 10 feet tall or 4 feet tall. You could believe I'm gay. You could believe I'm trans. I don't give a shit. I know what I am. I know that I don't believe that there is a God, but I could be convinced because I don't know if there's a God. It's that fucking simple. Zippy, DSM Lee, putting us over the mark. Putting us over the mark. I'm going to... Putting us over the mark. Thank you, Zippy DSM Lee. We hit our swole goal. Let's get some jams. Let's get our jams, baby. Let's go. Guys, pay yourself, let's go. 25, right? 25, let's go. Woo! Whoa, scream! Who paid themselves? Who paid themselves? I know somebody paid themselves. I know I just paid, well, you guys just paid me, but I also paid myself, but you guys paid me. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Thank you. Shout out to Zippy DSM Lee. We at here. Whew. Good job, everybody. Put down how many you did in the chat so you can get paid. Behave said, I suggest everyone to Google the Democrats' connections to the KKK. The two go hand in hand. Well, but the party switched. I thought the party switched. That's what they told me. Behave, so you're a gorgeous man searching for answers. Oh, well, thank you. And so they say there's no God, saying they don't believe. Exactly. I don't believe that there's no God. I just don't believe that it's real. That's it. I don't believe the first part. I do believe the second part. Those are different statements. Sit with that and realize why this is the whole thing right here. This is everything. You take this apart and you will understand what I've been saying the entire time. Don't be nice to Robert. Be nice to Robert. Right. And never do I say there is no God. Marty is out of shot. He's chilling. He's having a good time. Saying you don't believe in God is a belief again. Did not say that. King's at a plant doing push-ups next to a plant. Hey! Hey! All right. Well, thank you for stopping by. You have a good one. Brad said, God forbid someone provides evidence for God. Pun intended. Like it, like it, like it. You missed him. I did 25, baby. Get down and do your own. Who else paid themselves? Who else paid themselves? I know Guantek's doing some shit. I know Guantek's out there not typing because he's hustling. You goddamn right. There he is. There he is. He said, I got my 25. Let's go. I am hungry as well. I got a stuffed pepper in the fridge. Oh, man. As soon as this is done. Oh, he's out of shot. Oh, well, we got you right here. We got you right. Oh, yeah. What did I have the chair blocking him? Oh, man. Whoopsie. Whoopsie. All right. Well, thank you very, very, very much, guys. Goal completed and very much appreciated. Let's finish this up.
I don't think that's, I think that's a backwards way of thinking.
Read Virginia Woolf novels. And the only people I know who are trying to ban books, Virginia Woolf, and other books that even say the N-word. I mean, it's conservatives. That's who's trying to do it. I don't think that you should be banning books. But I do know, Candace, that language evolves over time. And when people say that word to me, they're not calling me.
Fair. I am not trying to get in your holes. So I will leave your holes alone. Your holes are yours and my holes are mine. Fair enough. Let's dilly-dilly on that. Appreciate you, brother. You have a good one.
A cigarette. They're not calling me.
Obviously, that's the point. It has a context. So if you want to punish that person because they're saying that offensively, that, if you feel that this person, but it's not fair to then say to everybody else who's not using that word, that this word has now been banned. I just think that's ridiculous. That's my point.
You think people should
I don't think you can suddenly say go backwards and delete words that had real meaning because someone has perverted it, because then it never stops. It just becomes constantly
a slippery slope.
Having to update the language for people's feelings. I don't think that we should be doing that.
So you would never call me a my face, right?
Well, why would I?
What? I don't know. That just came out of left field. That just came out of left field. Okay. All right. Well, Jesus fucking Christ. All right. So if you didn't, you wouldn't have a channel trying to reach people with a message. Very true. Very, very true. Hey, we got our boy Unwanted Bo with the $5. Bonus holes. Everybody keep your bonus holes to yourselves unless you get enthusiastic consent. Enthusiastic consent. No means no, but what's the other part of that? Didn't they change that for some? I don't know, but welcome to the party and thank you so very, very much. You gotta pray the troll hole to get into this boy's hole. Yes, good reference. Great reference. He said, Lemon is an idiot. This guy loves to play the victim. He's been brought up in it. That's his go-to. That's his mode of thinking. How can I turn whatever you just said into something bad about me? Whatever you just said, how can I turn that into something bad about me? Me! It's all about me! These people are pathetic. Fair enough. Done.
Just randomly call you.
I'm just meaning.
Have you ever seen the
never
Louis
use that word again.
Say no, not to your face. Well, let's see that again.
Why would I just randomly call you?
I'm just meaning.
Have you ever seen the Louis
CK
skit on? Have you ever seen the Louis CK skit on?
No, I like Louis CK, but I don't think I've ever seen a skit on.
You should watch it.
Yeah. No, but
he's basically like, well, you don't call. Can I? Well, I'll just use gay. So you don't call your gay friends gay. You don't call a gay person gay. You call your friends gay when they're being gay. I think he used that with retarded as well. I don't remember, but same concept. We all understood.
But you would never call like a gay person that to their face.
That seems like an absurd, like, what? No, of course, I'm not just going around. I'm a 35-year-old mother. I don't go around being like, hey, you're a It's just like, I'm not 18 years old. Like, I'm not going around calling people names, period. I wouldn't go up to a fat person and call them names. It's just like it's an absurd thing to be going around pointing and calling people names because I don't like them. I would no. So the answer is no. I would not.
Do you use the N-word?
No, I don't.
No. Okay. Here's something interesting that we may.
I do.
have some common ground on. Okay. But what do you think about same-sex marriage?
It's a sin.
You think it's a sin? So you think
It
I'm
is a sin.
sinful?
What's that?
You think I'm sinful because I'm married to a man?
Yeah.
That's what she just said.
You do.
Why are you asking the same question 3 times?
Yes, you're sinning. You are in a sinful relationship. I actually don't believe marriage can be between 2 men. So I don't.
But you understand, though, Candace, and maybe we're not going to agree on this now. I thought we would. Do you understand?
I think in order to have the position that a marriage cannot be between 2 men or 2 women, then you have to put that on the state. Because once marriage becomes a legal process, then it's a legal process. It's not a religious thing anymore. They might use the same word, but marriage is a legal term. So I understand what you mean when you say that matrimony as the sacrament doesn't apply to same-sex marriages. Fine, whatever. But I think it's important to act like, or it's important not to act like these people are like encroaching on your territory. Again, if anything, it's the state. Unless we're gonna get mad at people for following the law and living their lives. Shout out to Carl's Frosted Tips. Welcome. Were you here? Welcome if you weren't. Glad to see you and glad you're still here. Said my ninjas, feed Morty, please. Indeed, we will do. And Donovan is Affig. What's Affig? Welcome to the party. Quantek said, normally I would say there are no dumb questions, but Don is really starting to make me rethink that. Yeah. Well, welcome again to the party, my guy. Thank you very, very much. And that would have been the one to complete our goal if Zippy did not help us out. So thank you to the both of you. Thank you to all of you that donated and helped achieve our goal. Behave said, I agree with Candace. Marriage was meant for man with woman. And sure, that's okay, that's fine. But we have to acknowledge then that that we need to. It's a problem with the state, not a problem with people following the law. It's not a problem with people falling in love and wanting to spend their lives together. That is not the issue. The issue is the state. To you, the issue is the state giving gay people something that you don't believe they have. I want to vote. When I was religious, I was an advocate for separating marriage and civil union, for separating gay and straight marriage. Again, I think we should just why don't we get rid of the legal version of marriage? And marriage is matrimony is a religious thing, and civil union is the legal thing. I think that makes way more sense. Then you appease the Christians that no gay people are getting married. They're just civilly unionized. And nobody's keeping gay people from being able to see each other in the hospital or, any of that stuff. I feel like that's a perfect solution. It's literally just a word. Never got a problem. Oh yeah, they got a new season going, right? I gotta peep that. Oh, I guess I'll get next week. Okay, next week is I'll just wait and then I'll download that. Hell yeah! And that I was gonna talk about that. I was gonna talk about that today, but I just didn't know there wasn't like enough there because like they dropped the charge, so like word up. Okay, see you guys later. You know what I mean? So we'll see if hopefully some that is relevant in some of the other stuff that comes out this week, and it'll give us a good opportunity to talk about it. But free Daniel Penny. Indyville said government is involved in marriage because it's just another way to tax people. Yep. He said, yes, you can be gay, but it's not the original purpose for marriage. I don't agree with it. The alphabet community have become more like brown shirts. Okay. I mean, sure, you don't have to agree with it, but no one's asking you to agree with it. I think we're just saying that once the government has established a legal precedent, then religion goes out, has to go out the window. We can't, that in the same way, you wouldn't want to be treated differently because you are a Christian. You wouldn't want somebody else being treated differently because they're not following Christianity, unless you're a hypocrite. I don't know. Maybe you are. I'm not saying, but yeah, the civil lawsuits for sure. Is that Really? That's that's a criminal charge, right? Oh, damn! I thought they had. I thought he was like, thought he was good criminally. Damn! 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 All right, let's dive back in here.
But you understand, though, Candace, and maybe we're not going to agree on this.
Why me? Is this to me? Because again, because it's a legal thing, and we have equal rights in America, so you can't have something available to a certain group and not to other groups.
Now I thought we would. Do you understand, though, that the same Bible verses and the same scriptures that are used to?
I mean, that's still that's a good sign, but yeah, it should have been thrown out of court, and hopefully he does. I mean, I can't imagine that he wouldn't countersue. That would be because he like it's so clear that self-defense and other defense
who call same-sex marriage sinful are used to call interracial marriage sinful as well. And so there are people who would say that you are in a sinful marriage.
Can you tell me which verse it is that would make people say?
The thing is that it's actually not there, and that people twist the Bible verses. That's my whole point. Thank you for proving that.
But they don't twist the part about the Bible when it comes to gays,
because it doesn't say that, and it's actually, you're going to say Leviticus or whatever.
Yeah, because that's what it says. Fuck, I was just gonna give me 1 second here.
It's the thing is that it's actually not sinful as well. Leviticus or whatever. It's not actually what Leviticus says. But go on. I don't want to get into specifics about the Bible, but that's not what the Bible says.
Then why did you bring it up?
It's just people using and interpreting scripture in a way that they want to interpret it. So, look. You can believe whatever you want to believe. I don't believe that I'm in a sinful marriage, but there are people who believe, Candace Owens, that you are in a sinful marriage because you are in an interracial marriage. And I say that as someone who is in an interracial marriage, so I am doubly sinful.
Yeah, I've never heard anybody make a biblical argument against people being married that are black and white. So that's why I said, can you just tell me what verse that was? Sodomy.
His whole career is a retard moment.
Is obviously a sin.
Wait. Oh, hey, shout out to M169. Welcome to the party. Said, actually, it's a sign that the DA was a guilty charge at all once. Yeah, it's a sign the DA. Yeah. Well, it's New York City. So what do you expect? Did I just promote equity? No, I promoted equality, the equality of opportunity to get married. If marriage is a legal process, then you can't be denied it because you're in a certain group. That's not equity, that's equality. We all have the opportunity to get married. We all have the opportunity to enter in this legal partnership with another person. It's America. You can't have something available to one group and not another. Outside of specific, like, what are we talking about? Fucking Title 19 shit. Name something that one group is name something that is legally accessible to one group and not another. Dave said Candace is equally yoked. They both have the same God and beliefs. Not sinful. What, interracial marriage or what? Yeah, I stand by what I said. I just deny that it's equity. I stand by what I said. The words that I said still stand. You can't have something that is legally available to only one group in America, unless you can provide that to me. Then I'll be like, oh, okay, yeah, you were right. So what is the thing that is available to only one group and not another? Unless we're talking the specific carve-outs of Title 19. Behave said I'm indigenous and Caucasian. I was talking about Don's question to her. Gotcha.
Or black and white. So that's why I said, can you just tell me what verse that was? Sodomy is obviously a sin, but I've never heard a biblical argument. I'm happy to learn. I honestly, I'm happy to learn.
Sodomy is not just for
those are unconstitutional. They're not
gay sex, right? You know that, right? Sodomy.
Yeah, it's a sin always, by the way.
Yeah, it's a sin between. It can be a sin between heterosexuals as well.
Yes, that's correct.
So but you've never heard that interracial marriage was sinful?
I've never heard somebody make a biblical argument for interracial. I've never, and that's why I'm saying if you could present that to me, and if maybe you're familiar with
but
what verse
actually
that
it's not
was.
a biblical argument. It's also a religious argument as well, more so than anything, that you're in a sinful marriage and that black and white people should not be married.
I mean, I'm obviously very.
How is it a religious argument if it's not based on anything within the religion? Something said, as Aziz Ansari said, I'm fucking white bitches and there's nothing you can do about it. I said, shit, me too. Only ever. But nah, I mean, I'm discriminating. It just happened that way.
Aware that people could think that ideologically, but I've never heard that biblical argument made ever in my life. And I'm happy to be proven wrong here, but I think you made that up on the spot there.
So by saying that, no, I didn't actually, but by saying that you believe that I'm in a sinful.
Oh yeah, I mean, like they have the segregated lunchrooms in I think it was Michigan State or whatever school that was, but that was struck down. Like people will do things that are segregationist or whatever, but if we have a law that says you can do this thing, then you can't say only this group of people can do this thing, but that group of people can't do that thing. We have specific carve-outs in Title 19, as I brought up. But again, if you can name something that is legal, then I'll just be like, okay, I was wrong. But I don't see that.
Marriage. Does that mean, though, that I should be discriminated against?
No, I've never called for discrimination.
So you believe in the separation of church and state, then?
Heterosexual couples can sin as well. I mean, I hope that you deal with that. I want you to be Christian and to understand why it is that sodomy is a sin and what else it yields in society. I believe that marriage is between a man and a woman.
Yeah. But that doesn't mean that you believe that I should be discriminated against. I should be able to have, under the Constitution, you believe that I have the same rights as you and other heterosexuals, and that my marriage is just as valid under the Constitution as anybody else's, including.
Well, I believe that the problem became, that gets into a deeper theological discussion, but like the government should have never taken marriage away from the church. It should have been something that was maintained as a church practice.
Exactly what I just said. Exactly what I just said. Keep the marriage in the church, and then we have civil unions as the American legal thing that allows you to, get tax breaks and see each other in the hospital and all that shit. I don't need some fancy word for that. If you have some emotional connection to that word, cool. I want to preserve that, because if it's nothing to me and it's everything to you, why would I not want to be like, yeah, please take marriage. That's yours. I have no problem with that. Now, I understand that a lot of people won't agree with me, but again, I'm just making the claim that is not a like an automatic atheist position or an automatic it's just I'm an atheist who happens to have his own opinions, like all other atheists. They just, a lot of them choose to conform to the bullshit.
And so a lot of things happened there when the government took over and began marrying people, because then the arguments became, well, you get a tax break if you're married, and that is a way longer discussion that we can have on a different day. But to answer your question, I would never want any person based on their sins to ever be discriminated against, ever. I mean, I don't believe in discrimination. I don't believe that people should be treated differently. I think people should get help, and like we were just talking about with trans indoctrination, I believe that's a mental illness and people should seek help. But I don't believe that they should be discriminated against. I would never be okay with that. I mean, I have people that are, gay and lesbians in my life. I have cousins who are lesbians. So it's not, I don't have hatred in my heart.
You have Jewish.
Right. But aren't we fighting this on the grounds that it's unconstitutional? That's my point. Like, yeah, nobody can stop somebody from acting in a way that is unconstitutional. And it gets as far as it can sometimes. But like, okay, so I mean, fine. I will amend my statement. I was wrong. According to what the spirit of equality of opportunity, there cannot be something that is available to one group but not available to others. Fair? That was all I ever meant.
I have
gay friends.
I'm trying to be funny.
Do you have gay friends? I want to know.
Yes, I actually don't have, like, really kind of feel like I only hang out with my family right now. So I'm a little, I've got 3 kids under 3, so I don't really have friends right now, but yeah, sure.
No, seriously, you don't have gay friends?
Well, I have.
She just said yes, dude.
Gay people in my family. So yeah, that's the extent of my friendships with gay people.
Are you homophobic? No, seriously.
You're such an absurd
I thought you would say,
human
of course I have gay friends.
You're just such an absurd being.
Why would you think that she would say, of course? This isn't jank. This isn't jank.
First off, the person that you're just an absurd human being. Are you homophobic? I'm just like, what does homophobia actually mean? Can you give me a definition of homophobia? If I was homophobic, would I be doing like this show? Do you think I'm like scared? Like I'm like, oh my God, look, there's a gay man. I'm so scared.
No, not at all.
Homophobia is like being a felon is not an immutable characteristic. So I understand what you're saying, but again, the spirit of that's why I amended my statement. You guys are right. I was wrong. My new statement is the spirit of equality of opportunity is that everybody has the same opportunities. That's what I'm saying now. You guys are right. I was wrong. Now I'm making a new statement that equality of opportunity means that everybody has the equality of the opportunity to get the thing. In this case, the thing is marriage.
Have a phobia, a fear of, like, you know, you think I fear like 2 gay men that are walking down the street holding hands, like, and I'm just like, oh my God,
you're again. I've already you are right. I was wrong. 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 You are right. I was wrong.
So scared. I don't fear anything but God. That's it.
Yeah. Well, I don't think God is to be feared, but anyways, I'm just surprised that you don't have any gay friends because that, you know, I just am. So listen, I actually enjoyed this conversation. I think people who disagree with each other should be able to talk and hash things out. So I hope
Did you enjoy it?
Were we not talking about the idea that it's not marriage if they're same sex? That is specifically what I'm talking about. You have Eskimo friends? No, you're Eskimo-phobic. Is this the end?
100%. I enjoyed it. See, I think
there we go. All right, guys. Thank you so very, very much for hanging out. Look at all of this. Oh my goodness. You guys are amazing. Amazing. So much love. So much love. Look at it. Just look at it. Just look at it. Thank you guys so very, very, very much. And a big, big, big shout out to the sponsor of today's stream, Box, with $34 and 5 gifted memberships. Thank you, thank you, thank you so very, very much. I really, really, really do appreciate you guys. As long as I love you, I was just answering your question. That's why I said you're right, I'm wrong. You were right, I was wrong. It's all love, baby. It's all love. And shout out to Morty. Thank you, thank you, thank you so very much. You ick. Ick the fuck out of my face, bitch. Ick your icking self, you ick. Thank you guys so very much. Until next time, guys. Once again, this is Morty, and I have been your host, Lutch, a.k.a. the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Until next time, guys, we are out of here. Peace.